So Westmoreland stands up and says, Miss Richard claims that Mr. Combs assaulted Ventura right in front of her. The other alleged threats are nowhere in close proximity to an alleged assault. We have to distinguish between Danity Kane and the Diddy Dirty Money eras. And Mr. Pierre was telling her, where are you going to go? I don't see how that could be misconstrued as a threat. So the judge says, let me think about this. So here's the thing. What they're trying to say, if Dawn Richards, and by the way, chat, I know you guys are incredibly smart. I'm not trying to make y'all sound stupid. So if y'all hear me repeating or trying to give a colloquial explanation, like a layman's terms explanation that anybody can understand, and you're like, nigga, we already understand what we read, I apologize. There might be some people that don't. What Westmoreland, one of Diddy's lawyers, is saying, check this out. Yo, if she want to testify that she saw Diddy beat Cassie, cool. She's an eyewitness, cool. But if she's testifying to threats that that could be misconstrued as whatever between the groups or whatever, and this is like bullshit. So the judge is kind of realizing, all right, yeah, if they allow everybody to be like, oh yeah, we thought Diddy was talking in a harsh tone of voice, we were scared. Yeah, you're gonna paint the guy as a monster. Of course, they're gonna want to send a nigga to jail, right? So the judge is gonna think about it. Then they're saying we have an application from the press that emails be put in the record. Okay, I'm directing you to put them together and put them in a docket by next Tuesday, and after that on a weekly basis. Okay. See, I told you, Inner City Press, which is this person, they put in a application to the court, and that application clearly is admitted. That's what I'm telling you. This is why he's the only person really tweeting the case. There are people in there I've now found out, like if for Fox News, they're in court and they're communicating. I don't know how they are, but they're communicating to their reporter who's like speaking about it, but they're not tweeting it. Okay. All right. Here's the filing, and this is what Inner City Press did. This is cool. Oh, it was an email. By email. So they emailed it. So honorable blah blah. This is a press application, a docket, and unseal government and defense communications to the chambers on evidential. Oh, okay. Dear Submarinian, Inner City Press has been covering the above covered like many others. Okay, perfect. Yo, got to say, Inner City Press, everybody, including me, we owe you a debt of gratitude. You're doing the Lord's work. Without you, coverage of this case would be very difficult, and we'd be probably getting it once a day from like Fox News. Thank you. Okay. Don't know how we could really show you our appreciation, but I do want to tell you are very appreciated. And I know me, myself, particularly, if there's a way we could try to show our appreciation, we absolutely will. All right. All good. 13 minutes ago, the jury is now entered, and AUSA Slavic says, by the way, Dawn Richard is on the stand again. Says, when Mr. Combs told you that people could go missing, how'd you interpret that? Dawn Richard says, that people could die. I couldn't believe that this could be the beginning of a journey for us. AUSA says, what do you mean? Like Diddy Dirty Money? She says, yes. So look like at the beginning of Diddy Dirty Money happening, things are going on, craziness, and Diddy's letting people know, like, yo, y'all fuck around with me, niggas could go missing. And she's admitting she interpreted that to be people could die, right? AUSA Slavic then says, well, what did you observe? By the way, I feel like she already said this, but okay, cool. She's saying again. He would drag her, talking about Cassie, and kick her, punch her in the mouth. AUSA says, what would prompt these acts of violence? Combs says, Westmoreland, who's now more involved, says, objection. The judge says, overruled. Dawn Richard says, whenever she would speak up for herself, talking about Cassie again. Slavic says, who in security witnessed these things? Dawn Richard says, D-Rock and Roger Bonds. AUSA says, where did Miss Ventura get hit? Dawn Richard says, her knees, her face, all over. The AUSA says, did there come a time you were in New York for a festival? Dawn Rashad says, yes, in Central Park. The AUSA says, in the residence, what happened? Dawn Rashad said, he punched Cassie. She came into the bathroom crying. Remember what I told you, chat? Some of these things she saw herself, some of these things she was around. And this is why the Combs team wanted to limit her testimony, because Cassie already said what supposedly happened to her. You don't need to keep saying the same thing 15 times, but with lesser and lesser possible credible witnesses, right? If you didn't see it, why are you still talking about it? But the judge is still thinking about it, hasn't made a ruling on it, said he punched Cassie. She came into the bathroom crying. You could see her upset. She was hurt. Another objection. Remember, this doesn't seem like she saw he punched Cassie. It seems like he saw her come into the bathroom and probably assumed, or maybe Cassie told her, I got punched. The judge sustains it for now, which means you guys know what that means, right? So overruled, which means answer. Sustained means move on. So what injuries did you observe? So remember, they can't testify to what Diddy did. That's what they're trying to carve out. Dawn, you ain't see Diddy punch her. And Diddy was really slick and shrewd in that type of way. No matter how, and I think the government's going to make a bigger point of this, no matter how Diddy, part of his defense is that I was, incapacitated. I was drunk. I was inebriated. He was always slick enough that he didn't do everything in front of everybody. That's the only reason why for 11 or how many years, people didn't know exactly what he was doing, right? So he would do it in another room. You might see her cry. You might hear her scream. But it's not like he was like, everybody watch me while I punch the shit out of her. He would say, yo, let's go in the room real quick. He go in the room real quick. He do whatever he do. She comes out crying. Or they hear a scream. He comes out and say, oh, yeah, I got to go. You assume, like, oh, damn, he must be beating her ass. So his defense, knowing this, is saying, we're going to make sure people don't testify to none of that other shit. Cool. Here we go. So she says she observed a swollen eye. It appears she may have not observed the punch, but she's assuming it's a punch because she's seen a swollen eye. By the way, it would be crazy if Diddy was straight, like, closed fist punching Cassie. And again, chat, we're trying to be very neutral here, but we have some humanity. And also, we're not going to assume Diddy's all the way guilty on everything. We're going to try to give him a fair shot. We're trying to do a court analysis with some real nigga lenses, right? If it is true that he's punching her closed fist in the eye, that is crazy. A grown-ass man punching a woman who's like 17 years younger than him in the face with a closed fist is crazy, okay? But again, we don't know if it was a punch. She's claiming it was a punch, but it was ejected to. Okay, let's go. AUSA says, well, why did you remain with Ventura after the incident? Dawn Rashad says, I wanted her to feel supported. AUSA says, what is this? And I guess they show a picture or some type of exhibit. Dawn Rashad says, well, that's a Central Park event. They showed photos of Cassie in a sunglass, and there was Dawn Rashad too. So it's a picture of both of them, probably at the Central Park event. AUSA says, why did you wear them? Solidarity. So apparently Cassie gets punched in the eye. Her eye is swollen. She wears sunglasses at the event, but Dawn wears sunglasses too. The AUSA, the prosecutor, saying, why'd you wear sunglasses? She's saying, I wanted to be in solidarity with Cassie. Interesting. We get some more tweets. The next assault, who was there? Dawn says, D-Rock, Capricorn Clark, and Harv Pierre. Harv Pierre was a former president of Bad Boy Records. He's been sued in some of these civil suits, but it's the first time we've heard his name being brought up in the criminal case, okay? AUSA says, who was Mr. Pierre? At Bad Boy, he was answering the Combs. By the way, we can look it up, and just let's be factual here. Harv Pierre, I'll show you a picture of him. That's him. You may have seen him on Making the Band. He was best known for working with Diddy Bad Boy Records, but he was, I believe, either the president or something of the sort. Give me a second. I'll get you his title because I remember I used to see it on the screen all the time. Yeah, he was the president. If you looked at his LinkedIn, he was the president of Bad Boy Entertainment. Okay. By the way, he also shares the fact that he has a Howard background with Diddy as well. Let's keep it going. Dawn says that Bad Boy was answering the Combs. AUSA says, did they do anything? Dawn said, none of us did anything. Okay. Now, it's an interesting sequence of conversation or questions that they're going along with to ask Dawn about, because remember, this is a racketeering case. So what you want to show is complicitness, not people ignoring a situation or wanting to mind their business for their own jobs. You want to show people helping to cover up, helping to placate, helping to facilitate what Diddy was doing. So I'm watching this line of questioning. Again, it's one thing to say, yo, okay, say I have a bunch of employees. I punch a chick, right? When I punch her, my security, my assistants, my presidents, my chief of staffs, they all ignore it and act like they didn't see it. That's one thing. It's another thing if one of them run to the store to go get some Tylenol, one of them get some Band-Aid, one of them start sweet talking a chick like, come on now, come on, now don't say nothing, don't say nothing. We're gonna bring it to the hospital. This is a story. Now it looks like everybody's working with what I did. That seems like a racket. That seems like a criminal organization, as opposed to maybe everybody just want to mind their motherfucking business. Okay, mind your motherfucking business just seems like self-survival. Anyway, y'all all good, by the way. Let me bring up the King Academics chat. By the way, shout out to all my people on Rumble, and of course all my people on Kick. I got Kick up on the screen too. Check Kick team email chat. What? Okay. Wait, did Kick team email me? You got an email. Yeah, I remember Blue's Clues. You got mail. Actually, that's AOL shit. Okay. Oh yeah. Thank you. And by the way, shout out to and thank you to the Kick. Um, Shout out to the Kick chat. All right, they just gave me. They told me some really important shit. Here we go. There we go. Here we go. Wait, how did I do this? Oh, give me 1 second, Jeff. Hmm. Wait, how did I do this? I'm trying to edit the stream info real quick. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong fucking thing, bro. I'm clicking on the wrong fucking thing. All right. Thank you to Kick. And thank you. By the way, I want to say, yo, chat, you guys are so amazing. We do stream on multiple platforms at times. We might do a little Kick exclusive at the end. Maybe a little bit gambling and like just some, riffing and shit like that. But I will say this to y'all. Kick hit us up and they say, yo, your audience is amazing. We love how you guys been running it up on here. And I want to say for everybody who is a chat nigga, I know you may have different viewing preference. I know some of y'all love watching on Rumble, love watching on YouTube. Shit, people even watch on Meta, and I know a bunch are starting to watch on Kick. I love you guys because I'm telling you, the platform is very happy with us based on how you guys turn up support. Appreciate you guys so much for that, right? Okay, good. And by the way, I'm always honest with y'all. Like, especially after the whole Twitch shit happened, we can't just be on one platform. We gotta be everywhere. You get what I'm saying? When you one place, they got you by the balls. When you everywhere, it's a little harder. All right, cool. So it looks like they're trying to figure out what the hell Dawn and them did. And it's clear that after the next assault, we don't know if it was a punch or something, but they're saying that D-Rock, who I think this is a security guy or some type of guy like that. Harv Pierre is the president. Who's Capricorn Clark? We should look that up. But they're saying that everybody didn't intervene when Diddy assaulted Cassie the next time. They're saying, so Don Richard says, when we drove back to LA, he slapped Cassie in the mouth, told her to shut the fuck up. AUSA then says, how did the passengers respond? So it looked like they were in the car. Don Richard said, we stayed silent the rest of the ride. Damn. Okay. Don Richard said, I asked myself, if he did that to someone he supposedly loved, what would he do to an employee? So I'd approach Mr. Combs with softness. AUSA says, did you try to intervene in the relationship? Dawn said, no, for my own safety. So look like that's going to be the whole, I think this is the premise of Dawn Richard's testimony. It's to let people know, right? The reason why we ain't jump in, we were scared of this nigga too. We saw him beat her ass. We didn't want to get our ass beat.
Yeah, she being a character witness. But shit, it was a part of the show.
Whoever this is, they said the first RICO in history where the members of the criminal enterprise were doing their day jobs and minding their business, right? Like they're minding their motherfucking business. Where's the criminal organization now? Here's the thing. I think Mia or someone else is really just talking about the drugs Christina and the sex. Like all the personal assistants are flipping on.
You're not getting.
They're all acting like, oh, we weren't a part of this. We were doing our jobs. We just didn't intervene. Or if we did do something, it's because Diddy forced us and we didn't think we were part of a criminal organization.
He might get racketeering shit. Maybe,
but that is a point. They said this is the first RICO in history where the members.
I feel like they're
we're just doing their day jobs and minding their business. Because I'm telling you, this line of questioning, I don't know why the ASA is doing it. Because all you're proving is that the artist
I feel like they're gonna throw another charge
his
on
other employees just didn't do
I feel like it's something in the maybe I'm just not aware of it.
But it's not like they were helping Diddy do what he did. It's not like they're like, yo, Diddy, let me hold her hands while you slap the fuck out of her. They're not doing that.
But they would just see this shit and be like, nothing for no motherfucking hit place.
That don't mean they're part of this criminal organization. That mean they want to get a paycheck. They're minding their motherfucking business. Well, I keep telling you, mind your
soon to be dead.
All right, here we go.
He might not be dead for real. That's probably another reason. Nigga ain't even dead. Nigga might not even be dead.
Cool.
Who knows?
All right. So she said she minded her business for her own safety.
I might do the video. I might do a video on the nigga that they say
using drugs. She says yes,
Tupac.
weed,
I might have to do that
Molly,
video.
cocaine. AUSA says opiates. She says that I never saw. So I guess opiates are like perks and stuff like that, right? Perks. What else is an opiate? Type of. What other drugs are opiates?
Is Xanax
codeine?
Yeah, codeine. Heroin.
I thought perks was opiates.
Hydrocodone, oxycodone, heroin, methadone, all the domes.
Oxycontin.
Tramadol.
Obviously, somebody will be doing fentanyl by themselves, right?
Shit for pain when you got down, get your tooth pulled, all that extra shit like that.
Percocet a opiate?
Yes, it is. It's the number one. Heroin. It's heroin. That's why heroin right now.
Percocet is. So Percocet, Vicodin, and Oxycontin. There.
See what it said? Heroin. I be knowing my shit before it even pulled it up. I be knowing my shit.
They seen Diddy do weed, ketamine, Molly, and cocaine, no opiates. Said that never saw. By the way, this is also important. You got to realize, obviously Diddy's lawyers are going to paint Dawn Richard as having this angle of probably wanting to see Diddy go to jail and setting him up, right? When she admits to certain things that can help Diddy, that also helps her credibility. Like, hey, did you see him do opiates? They're trying to put also this idea that Diddy did opiates. When she says, nah, I never seen that. That gives a little bit more believability to what she's saying. Like, okay, she's not just gonna say yes to everything to sink this guy. She's really telling her true recounting of the situation. AUSA says, who brought the drugs?
Hopefully. I hope that's what
she said. Doing. One stop. What does that mean?
Not just
He
lying
had it
to get
all,
a nigga locked up.
including Plan B and birth control. I was wondering where the Plan Bs and birth control is at.
Yeah, for
You
real.
can't have a freak off if you
Bitch ain't
nutting
got
in
no
these women.
shit or
How the
nothing.
hell they ain't getting
I was
pregnant?
wondering about that shit.
There's no kids,
Where
no
is the
abortion. Okay,
Plan
we
B,
now know the Plan B was in
poison?
cahoots
It was no
with this fucking freak off.
contraceptives being
Andrew Dignified
used.
reading the second.
Diddy
So
wanted these niggas
basically,
to
Dawn
bust
Rashad
in
is saying
her,
they had a one-stop
and
shop.
then
Maybe it
he
was
would go
you
in
heard
another
that
room
sometimes you could
and
see a
rub.
Quran or somebody who have a fanny pack
Fuck
and
that. He
supposedly
would
had
go in.
party
He would go
drugs,
in the other room
they had
with Cassie and
condoms, they
have
had
her
all these type of things, but
scoop
I guess
the
it would have
nut
Plan
out
Bs
of
and birth
her
controls as well.
and rub it on his
Okay,
nipples.
all right, a one-stop shop.
On his nipples. On his nipples. What the fuck?
AUSA says, "Did you ever see Mr. Combs with guns?"
Nigga
Dawn Shaw
got
says, "Yes,
Cassie rubbing
handguns
another
on his lower
nigga.
back." AUSA says, "Who asked had who else? I think that's me. Who else had guns?" Dawn Shaw says, "Security, D-Rock and Bonds." AUSA says, "What did you do after Bad Boy?"
Nigga
Dawn
getting
Shaw said, "Sing. Whenever I
second
got
person
momentum,
voluntarily
I'd
skeeted
get a
on.
FaceTime from her."
Nigga
So apparently, after she
voluntarily
left Bad
skeeted
Boy,
on second
whenever
person,
she was like still working on her
third
career,
person,
whenever
through
she got a
third
little bit of
person
buzz,
skeet.
Diddy would
That
call
nigga
her.
that crazy.
AUSA says, "How would you speak to him?" Very soft. I'd always call him bro. AUSA says, "Why did you not disclose the abuse you had seen?" She says, "I was told not to by Mr. Combs and Harv Pierre." Now, that's important because now she's making Harv Pierre seem like a co-conspirator. He's complicit. That he was, again, a part of the cover-up, which becomes a part of the crime. In this particular case, becomes a part of the crime, right? So remember, this is a RICO case. AUSA says, "When did you speak out?" She says in 2024. Okay. Um, we not only read the tweets, we also kind of like cross-reference a little bit. Dawn Rashad, did Roger Bonds speak about her? Because Roger Bonds has been speaking about a lot of people. Okay. Here we go. We're trying to find his testimony is always pretty good. Here we go.
Yeah, I gotta roll up.
And so I've given a lot of thought, and I'm gonna let you out your contract too. As far as for you, Dawn, I still want to make music with you. I still want you to be signed to the label. And, if I decide to put that together, Danity Kane, then, you'll be the only member that'll still be there.
Okay, so at a point, we had Diddy who dropped everybody but Dawn. Okay. We're going to get to Aubrey O'Day. We're going to get to Aubrey O'Day at a point. I'll put this on the side. But Danity Kane had Aubrey O'Day and Dawn Richard and a few other people. By the way, one of the women of Danity Kane, I think this woman.
And all of them was lead singers.
Y'all are gonna remind me. She's sticking up for.
All
Diddy
of them had lead single potential. I think.
For Diddy.
I believe.
But then
if
people
I
felt
remember
like
correctly,
her
all
lawyer
of them
was
had
being paid for her.
lead single,
Diddy
solo
had called
single
her
potential
several times before, and this is hard here. Several. I think it was 100 times, over 100 times before she had put out whatever she had put out. Okay. Now, what the government just did with the testimony is accuse this guy right here, Harv.
Yeah, I'm on 2K2 at the same time. If y'all ever wanna
they've accused
keep
Harv
up with it
of
and
being
get your ass whooped at the same time. If you ever want to keep up with the news and
what
get
the
your
natural
ass
thought
whooped,
is, will he take the stand?
you know what I'm saying? You can challenge me when I'm doing the shit, and I probably get on and whip your ass while I'm.
If this is what the government is trying to
I'm
elicit,
good at multitasking.
If he's not charged, why isn't he? Right? Because they're trying to say he's part of this criminal organization. If he's not charged, most likely he would be testifying against Diddy.
Used to working from home for a company and then working on my business at the same time.
Not mentioned at all. I'm still trying to see him.
I juggle the call, multitask. You niggas don't know how to multitask, nigga.
We have Harv Pierre,
who said that,
now mentioned today.
You can't multitask.
And Christina Karam,
you niggas don't know how to multitask, nigga.
Even in the indictment. If none of them testify against Diddy, we're thinking they're going to be co-conspirators, but they're not charged. So we're going to see what happens with them, if anything at all, right? All right, let's see. Dawn then says, I saw Miss Ventura take the stand and tell the truth. Westmoreland says, objection, which is a really good objection. You got to object there. The reason why is you shouldn't be testifying about another person's testimony. So when she says, I seen Miss Ventura take the stand and tell the truth, Miss Ventura's testimony is about what she believes. And also, when you say her tell the truth, did she tell the truth for the entire 3 days she was on the stand? Every single moment? So that was a great objection, and the judge sustained it. Which means, yo, you can't talk about her testimony. What the fuck? AUSA says, did you see Ms. Ventura file a civil lawsuit? And then did you file your own? She said yes. Which, yes, she did file her own lawsuit against Diddy. Has she done any interviews? Let's see if we can find out if Dawn has done any interviews. Dawn Richard interview Diddy. We've been waiting. She described.
What up, y'all? It's Caroline. Out alerting Mr. Occasion.
So it dawned on me that we have 1 million streams already for this record.
I don't think she ever did an interview. Kalina is the one who's defending her. So Kalina's defending her, but Kalina's husband has some ties to Diddy. So that's why they think Diddy still cool with the husband. They're making Kalina like defend. They're making Kalina defend Diddy. But Aubrey O'Day and Dawn, they're not defending Diddy. Aubrey hasn't filed a lawsuit. Dawn has. Has Dawn never? Okay, here we go.
Hey everybody, this is Dawn Richard, and you're listening to MusicExclusives.com, where you hear it first.
What's up, everyone? I'm Megan Williams from MusicExclusives.com, and I'm here with the beautiful Dawn Richard. How are you?
I'm great. I'm feeling good. I'm in a good place right now.
Good. We're here at your listening party for Armor On, and I just want to say, we know you from being in groups like Vanity Kane and Dirty Money. You've always been like the group girl. So why did you decide, okay, now I'm going to be solo?
Well, Puff decided he was done, so that was one reason. And it was just time. I mean, I've always been loyal, and I think I would have kept going with Dirty Money for however long it was. But when Puff decided he was done, that's all I need to know. Like I can't. You have to let your career keep going, and my choice wasn't to wait. My choice was to take advantage of my
chat. Again, we want to support victims here, of course. Is there any world that Dawn is tight that Diddy disbanded the group, gave up on them? She had to. It basically threw her in the deep end, said, "Sink or swim. You got to do this by yourself." By the way, oh shit, thank you. Oh damn, did somebody host us or something on Kick? We getting hella followers. I'm watching the kick feed. The kick feed looking crazy. Let me do a filter over there, see what's going on. Type shit. Oh, they might have put us on the main page or something. I don't know. Oh, we got rated? Oh. Yeah, by the way, I love the kick interface. It's like pretty easy to use. By the way, probably on the flight thing for the gifted as well. All right. Good. All right.
my life and my career. So when he told
Now, you know the problem is with this Diddy case, and I think the jurors are gonna have to weigh it out. There's no one that's testifying against Diddy, or no one who has this bad opinion of him that is doing really successful or doesn't have some incentive to either get back or incentive because their career might not have gone the way they wanted to. And you have to take that into perspective, because if all the people that got something bad to say about me, they felt I left them in the dust, and I could pull up interviews where they're like, man, I wish Ak never left me in the dust. I wish Ak was still doing the shit that he used to be doing with me. So here's the thing. If Diddy was still working with Dawn Richard, would she be blowing the whistle, or is she blowing the whistle now that bank account dried up a little bit, opportunities never really materialized? Now she's like, all right, I'm going to blow the whistle. That's going to be very important to say, right?
told me no more, I was like, okay, well, what's the next step? Because I got to know where to go after this, because I love this music thing.
So it was Puffy's decision to.
Well, no, it wasn't Puff. The Dirty Money. Yeah, I think he was.
Now, the thing with her too is that remember they have Danity Kane, then Dirty Money. She kept her for Dirty Money, right? But she's from Danity Kane. Also, let me see. I'm gonna play this quick interview real quick, or not. I'm not playing the whole interview, but give me 1 second. It was hold on. Dawn on buying her out of her contract. I'm trying to see if recently she said anything. Oh, this was 9 years ago. Nine years ago was, oh yeah, she was in love with Diddy at that time. Let me hear what Cassie said.
On the back. You
won't commit. He won't.
I'm not sure.
She was in a movie with Terrence J.
Playing a head game on.
Big friend, Diddy. Whether he came to the set to make sure everything was copacetic with you.
No, he
That
actually.
nigga probably showed up to the set to see if he got to kill that nigga Terrence J for kissing on his bitch. We all know Diddy wasn't playing that type of shit. They in the movie over here talking about they hot and heavy, he kissing on her and shit like that. Nigga, fuck out of here. You can't kiss on my bitch. I only let escorts kiss on her and skeet on her, nigga. Fuck out of here, nigga. You 106 in Park reject ass nigga. Diddy probably came there like, yo, I'm about to fucking kill this nigga. One thing about Diddy, I don't say you got respected, but Diddy wasn't letting no nigga in the industry fuck his bitch. If you was an escort, you could fuck her all day. You could nut on her, pee on her. That's cool. But if you was Kid Cudi, think I'm about to blow up your car. You this nigga right here, fuck no.
Turn the tape. Welcome to Good Day.
take us.
All right,
Like me.
Hell no.
New York.
Thank you.
So I heard you kind of turn the tables on the guys in this movie. I like the whole premise of this.
Yes.
All right, let me hear what she said about Diddy.
Sure everything was copacetic with you.
No, he actually really trusted the situation. Him and Terrence spoke beforehand because Terrence.
Wait.
Yeah, he talked to Terrence like, hey, yo, pussy nigga. You heard what happened to Kid Cudi's car? You don't want to know what happened to your crib.
Wait. You date P. Diddy?
Oh wow.
I did not know this. Yeah. Hold the phone.
Greg.
You know,
Yes.
I typically don't talk about my private life.
Well,
but that
forgive
was-
me. They put it on the television.
They put it on the television.
Yeah. So I
okay.
mean, I don't go like really. It's your
I'll
business.
let that one go.
So all right.
But wait, she was telling the story that
So yeah, okay.
So-
So Terrence was a bit nervous, and I told Puff about it, and he said, have him give me a call. So we FaceTimed, and they had their man talk, and he said, make it believable. You guys, this is like going to be a great movie for you, and he's proud of us at the end of the day. It's work.
The actor talked to Puff.
Yes.
So I didn't know you call him Puff.
Yeah, Puff, Sean.
Yeah?
I think
That's
everybody
nice.
has
Pop.
their different names.
Well, he seems like a good guy. I met him once when he was selling Ciroc.
Yo, it's still surreal to me. And this is what I'm telling you. I think, and call me a simp if you want to. You get blinded by beauty a little bit. Like, Cassie's so beautiful. Like, it's crazy to think that she might have left this set to go do a fucking freak off. Where a motherfucking, like, 2 or 3 prostitutes was fucking the shit out of her while Diddy's jerking off in the corner and she's glistening in baby oil. It's crazy to think, she held, and not only that she held a secret. Yo, these days, women can't hold water, bro. Story time. Like, come on, how many times have you seen women constantly expose the intimate or intricate details of their either situation or relationship with a guy just for a TikTok like or to go on the shade room? Yo, Cassie really held this shit down for 10 years. She was doing interviews where people were like intrigued, and she never gave the slightest hint that, yo, I'm doing some freak off shit. Like, yo, I'm getting plowed by 15 random escorts. Shit, Diddy's a freak. Like, we ain't had none of that.
Vodka.
Yes.
He brought a big jug
He's
of
a
it.
big mogul. By the way, Cassie comes from our area, Connecticut.
I'm from
Do you still have family there?
I do in New London.
Not bad, y'all. What I
Oh,
missed?
that's nice. You gonna get a chance to see them?
What the
This is
fuck
big.
did I miss?
Well, as long as we're asking, and your suit?
This is him on Wendy. You know, Wendy gonna get that
Yes,
call.
Puffy.
By the way, you know what's interesting about this interview? Back in the day, Wendy got fired for calling Diddy gay. You ever heard that story? Some of y'all are young. One in the chat if you remember that because you're old enough. Diddy,
On the
Wendy
radio?
fired gay. Wendy got fired back in the day because she called Diddy gay.
Yeah, because she was working for the radio, and Bad Boy ran shit back then.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny how when men get older in hip hop, they're still, well respected, well versed, Cool Herc. You know what I'm saying? And I am familiar with Kanye and ASAP.
From Brand
Nubian. Clear. There were lots of homosexuals in hip hop back in the 80s too, and that was. What's worse, hip hop wearing skirts or hip hop being closeted and having a plethora of kids to prove manhood that, and denial of something that you shouldn't have to deny, which is your sexuality. Mm-hmm. So I hear what Jamar is saying, but we come from a very home career, and it's all coming full circle now. So
I want the Diddy part.
I don't know, because I still see Frank Ocean as being one amongst many, but one, and that's good. But and then there was the notion of this radio DJ in New York who is in denial. So that just goes to show you how far the homosexual movement within hip hop and sports still needs to go. It is politically correct to be accepting, but behind closed doors, people are still hating. And Jason, the basketball player, is one, but it will be a long time, I think, before another actively playing in the locker room ball player comes out. And it's unfortunate, but that's where I am, on it. Frank Ocean, good for him. And Jason, good for him. It's a steak, Mar is saying. But we come from...
Anyway, she got fired. Let's hear the story.
Did you get fired for making fun of Puffy?
Yeah, by Hot 97. I had to fight a lawsuit. You know what it all came down to? It
came down to gay rappers. That's what it was.
Gay rappers and exposing.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Wendy. And she was on the radio talking all this way back in the days. I've been telling you things for years, but you don't want to hear. So, all right, fine. And I don't understand parents who unleash their kids. Oh, it's just a deeply moving story to me because I know all of the story.
She knows.
She knows, and I know she knows.
Everything Wendy told us about everybody else is fucking
Deep
true.
down, she knows.
There are people like Wendy Williams. I didn't know that did that show.
You represent a lot.
It is stunning how many people figures think at the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to the tweets in a short second.
Deep down, she knows.
Where's the there's probably a timestamp.
She knows.
Where's the timestamp?
And I know she knows.
And the Met Gala.
Yo, Diddy look like yo, look at Diddy's face. The whole time he got his face on like, yo, don't expose me right here. I'm slapping the shit out of you too. Oh, this is him talking about him and Cassie.
Gone this far.
Look.
Yo, Diddy looks so nervous. Look at his face.
Look.
That's that nervous laugh. Nervous laugh, Chad.
Look.
Nervous laugh.
You know?
No, but I want to tell you the story about that. I met all of them in the same year, so I've known all of them the same amount of time. But we were friends. No. Listen. Whoa, why did I do that?
Did you meet all in the same
No, I was
social
just
setting?
trying to say it wasn't like I just was running around, through my career and just, every couple of years just being with a new person. Like these are people that
now it's interesting. I'm gonna tell you why this conversation is interesting. Back in the day, I think I could probably even find a clip. Wendy Williams, Hot 97, Diddy gay. If I could find the clip, I'll find the clip. Okay, this is her talking about Diddy. Listen.
Dutton from Rock is 50 years old. All you can hear is Whitney screaming at the top of her lungs at Bobby to get off the stage. Get off, like ridiculous. This
she also says some stuff about Bobby Brown too.
whole thing happened back, of course, in December. leaving his
I thought it was an unpay.
Well, eventually,
It's Bay.
Jennifer and
Okay.
Wolf made their way to the SUV without Puffy.
Right.
They ran 11 lights to elude the cops. Supposedly it was Puffy, although people are saying they saw a female hand tossing a gun out the window. And then when the cops stopped them, they found a second gun, of course, in the car.
Right.
All four of the occupants, the driver, the bodyguard, Puffy, and Jennifer, were handcuffed. In the early 30s, he's a paralegal at a corporate who works with autistic children. She's also been in.
No, where the fuck is it? Damn. There's audio. She got fired for it. That's when like artists could be so hot they could get people fired. Wait, Wendy dated Biggie?
But Diddy wasn't just an artist. Diddy was a motherfucking mogul.
What surgery Wendy got? Wendy slams.
Whatever. I'm trying to adjust.
These are old. I don't even know if these things. I think they got all these things scrubbed from the internet.
Raw shit.
Okay, here we go.
At the radio stations looking down, egging it on, waiting for something to go down. I didn't get a chance to hit the sidewalk, you know what I'm saying? Before I knew it, out of nowhere. Nobody called. It's not even like he. No, it was just like weird. Almost like karma. Next thing I know, he's out of the car and there's a whole bunch of rah-rah going on outside and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And I send Cower and Skell out on the sidewalk and he comes back in and says, it's total outside. And they were about to set it on you.
Now, Kirk Burroughs was the president of Bad Boy Records, and he even
right.
commented on Wendy's impact in this feud.
He was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle. There were lots of homosexuals in hip hop back in the 80s too.
Her and report back. Let's take a look at this throwback clip of the Wendy Williams show.
Cassie's in South Africa filming Honey 3. And she allegedly...
Remember, that's when Cassie was in South Africa. She testified to this. She's in South Africa filming Honey 3. She realizes Diddy's fucking with the Gina girl. He told her he stopped fucking with the Gina girl. She find out that he's still fucking with her, and she blocks Diddy. She blocks Diddy.
Allegedly has been avoiding Puffy.
Oh, so Wendy knew. Yo, Wendy was the truth. Let me tell you this, man. Wendy been the go to all this shit. Without Wendy, you don't get Charlamagne, you don't get me, I don't think you get none of this shit. Because she is what TMZ is for hip hop. And I know some people love to act like, whether like if you're on a podcast, you're gossiping, gang. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're Joe Budden, you're gossiping. You're gossip. I don't care if you think you're just reviewing music.
Lots of homosexuals in hip hop back in the 80s too.
Been the go to all this shit. Without Wendy, you don't get Charlamagne, you don't get me, I don't think you get none of this shit. Because she is what TMZ is for hip hop. And I know some people love to act like, whether like if you're on a podcast, you're gossiping, gang. I don't give a fuck who you are. If you're Joe Budden, you're gossiping. You're gossip. I don't care if you think you're just reviewing music. We're all gossiping, and we all come from this woman right here. I'm sorry. She's the godmother of all this shit. I got to be honest.
That's why it took me
now,
so long to get into
some
this
people
shit,
like to gossip in a gangster way,
gossip.
but I don't care if you Gillian Wallow, you gossiping. If you me, you gossiping. If you Drink Champs, you gossiping. If you sitting here and talking about stories that other niggas have other than just straight music, you're gossiping. And she's the queen gossiper, and without her, none of this would exist. That's a fact.
And, my thing about when you date a mogul is that it's really difficult to avoid them because if you use your head, you never know when they're going to pop up on the scene. Like he's mogul, like he can hire a plane right now, zoom it to South Africa, land on the roof.
Which is so scary to think that like when you are dating someone that rich, again, she's kind of in the air in 28. The host and actor, he said to see this true to that.
Right. So we're going to realize a lot of things that Wendy said low key kind of came through type shit.
I'm about to see if it worked.
We're shied away from addressing celebrities.
Yo, they scrubbed the audio.
He could do this. He could
on the way she moves.
Yeah, like, Cassie have gone this far. Like the distance. What is it about her?
I mean, it's just like when
it's a freak offs gang.
Record comes on, the way she moves.
Yeah.
Like when I look at her, the way she smiles, the way I see her look at me sometimes when I wake up and she's already awake, you know?
She didn't go to sleep. She's off them drugs. All right, bet. Let's get back to some tweets real quick, Chad. Again, if you're watching, we're gonna from time to time kind of jump into like some background videos and stuff to give us more context. But you know, we're waiting for tweets. So okay, we're caught up a little bit. 17 minutes ago, the judge is saying cross. So pretty much, the direct is done with her after they establish and look like all the direct, which is the AUSAs, the prosecutors, all they established was that Dawn witnessed Cassie being abused, witnessed Diddy be violent. She was in fear, and that allowed her, or not allowed her, that prevented her from doing anything, right? Okay, so now we're on the cross. Cross is Westmoreland is now stepping up. She says, you are aware there's a motion to dismiss your lawsuit, right? Which is your civil lawsuit. Dawn says, I have civil lawyers. So she doesn't answer the question, but she just says she has civil lawyers. Westmoreland says, you sat with the prosecutor.
We're going to see if this bit work.
And your allegations have changed. She says, I've been consistent. Now, that's very important, Chad.
Work while it's on charge.
What we can now tell that Diddy's lawyers has done. Diddy's lawyers are doing 3 different things. And by the way, these money grab attempts by these attorneys, or let's say even potential victims, Diddy's lawyers is looking through your civil suit. They look through Cassie's civil suit. Remember, they called Cassie up on the same lie. Or not lie, but inconsistency. Let's just call it that. Cassie said, Diddy raped me at this time in her civil suit. When she talked to the government, and through their conversation that then became discovery, she said another date. One date is here in your civil suit. One here is here with you talking with the government who got to do a criminal trial. Inconsistent. Okay, they pointed out that with Cassie to say, how you want us to believe he raped you, but you don't even know when he raped you. You gave 2 different dates, and they're saying the same thing about Dawn Richards. So everybody who filed a civil suit, they're cross-referencing dates and details with their government interviews.
It did work, right? Y'all. It did motherfucking work.
So it says, so she says, I've been consistent. Westmoreland says, well, you testified he attempted to hit her about the eggs and that she dropped down to the fetal position, right? Dawn says, yes. Well, Westmoreland says, did you ever say you heard a pan hit the wall and you didn't see it? I don't recall. So that's clearly either in her interview with the government or civil suit. Now Westmoreland is pretty much
the thing is now
remind her. Would you agree with me? It's been hard for you to keep her story straight with respect to the egg incident. She says, I told it as close as I could. Westmoreland says, the day after, you said
it worked, though.
Mr. Combs said people go missing. She says, yes.
So I'm going to see how long.
Westmoreland says, let's go to your interview. And by the way, these are pre-trial interviews that the government had with their witnesses. And because they announced the witness list, they have to turn over those corresponding conversations that they had with those people in interviews that they did to get a story on the record, supposedly. Not really on the record because it wasn't on the record then. And they're combing through those and going and cross-referencing it with their civil case. So it's on March 18th, you didn't say anything about Mr. Combs told you people go missing. Richard said, or Rashad says, I don't remember that. Westmoreland says, no worries, it's okay. I'm going to show you a document, only for the parties, though. Let's go to page 5. So, Chad, once again, it appears that Diddy's team is doing a good job of basically showing that these people's memory is fuzzy, hazy, and kind of like thrown into the pot that they might be saying anything now to either further a narrative or trying to please the government because they either hate Sean or otherwise. Okay, cool. So we're kind of caught up a little bit. Yo, Chad, this coffee like this motherfucking. Yeah, I drank like 1.5 cups of coffee. My stomach is starting to turn. What the fuck? It's all good. Somebody told me like, yo, coffee makes you like want to go to the bathroom. I'm like, nah, because I've been drinking coffee like for like the last 2 weeks, right?
That'll calm me down.
This morning, I'm like, oh, wait, hold on now.
Man, I'm talking about the
Hold
prices on my shit.
I bet. So we're waiting for
I'm
some more
setting
tweets.
prices
We're
for
gonna
some
see
shit
what
I'm
they're doing
selling.
to see.
Like,
While
man,
we
I'm
do
just
that, let
gonna
me
keep
pull
it
up
at this
some
price because
donations.
motherfucker gonna
Thank
try
you
to
guys for
talk a
everyone
nigga
who's
down
donated,
any
for
damn
people who
way.
have become members, or anyone who has either subscribed or gifted a membership or subscription via Kick, Rumble, or otherwise. I appreciate all you guys. All right, here we go. Oh, coffee? Coffee gives you diarrhea? Oh, hell no, gang. Mm-mm. Hell no. All right, we're going to have to make it through. I'm going to drink some water, though. I'm going to drink some water in a second. Somebody said drink water? Okay. All right, we got it. Here we go. I'm reading donations on the King Akademiks page first. We are waiting for some new tweets. Again, I think if you guys are watching, you guys should understand the strategy the Diddy's team is going with. For Don Rashad, clearly the aim was to say, we all witnessed that Diddy was doing some abusive shit. But if you ask us why we ain't join it, or not join in, but we ain't prevent it, we were scared of him too. So they're kind of showing that Diddy is a fearful person, okay? Diddy's lawyers just came back around to say, would you admit that you really don't remember everything accurately? And they're kind of getting at the fact that her story is inconsistent. And then they're probably going to try to highlight the fact that not only is it inconsistent, you have a reason to lie on Diddy, right? Your reason is a lawsuit, right? Not only that, let's talk about your finances. They did that to Cassie too. Let's talk about your finances. Not only you have reasons to lie on him, your money's low, right? So it's in your best interest to say whatever story that made this guy look crazy, but you weren't saying the story consistently, nor did you say it at the time, right? So the government was trying to knock out the first point of, well, why you didn't say it at the time? Oh, well, we were scared. Well, why you didn't say it since? I was still scared. Okay, well, when you did finally say it, how come your story has changed in a year? And that's kind of their strategy, okay? Will that work for the jury? I think it'll work on an individual basis. I don't know if it'll work overall, especially with the amount of witnesses they're trying to bring. You know, people usually be like, listen, everybody ain't lying. You know what I mean? Even if they don't believe one person all the way, they'll be like, man, everybody ain't lying. This is why Diddy's team is trying to say, could we limit some of these people from testifying? Because we could point out holes in all their testimony, but we're not trying to get railroaded by just the amount of people they claim they have to testify, right? Because people might be like, oh, yeah, she don't remember everything, or maybe she lied about A, B, and C. But there's 20 other people who testified to the same thing. So, you know, I mean, everybody can't be lying type shit, right? All right. We are waiting for some additional tweets. By the way, Buzzer Beater Clips, thank you for the 5. He says, when serial killers get comfortable, they start making mistakes and leaving trails. Diddy had a whole freak off with him when he was the Joker. What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say he did a freak off after the Joker? He dressed up as a Joker for Halloween one year. Okay, thank you for the 4 months membership. So your shout out to the chat. The party was lit. Oh, you came through. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you so much. Love you for that. Bradley Dormis, thank you for the 14 Canadian. Says late but happy birthday, Act. Your streams got me through tough times when I was doing Uber Eats. Salute to you, my brother. Salute to you. He said nothing better than the motherfucking chat. Is that a St. Lucian flag and a Haitian flag? I think I know my Caribbean flags. Okay. Tanya Vicente, thank you for the 5 Canadians. She says, saw the best lawyer breakdown of court last week, the charges and what exactly it means. Nate, the lawyer, he did a what happened in court this week. All right, you know, yeah, I trust Tanya. Tanya's usually on point. Let's see. Nate, the lawyer, what happened in court this week. We're not going to read or go through everything. Okay.
All right, I'm Nate, the lawyer.
All right, bet. Before we do that, let's just get up to date with the last tweet. And by the way, I still have more donations to read in a second. Combs, Westmoreland, which is Combs' lawyer, says, isn't it true the first time you said this was a week ago? Isn't it true the first time you said this was a week ago? Would you like me to show you your previous interviews? Dawn says, I know what I said. Westmoreland says, you said Combs made a death threat, one that you didn't recall 7 times. So apparently she's now claiming that she never claimed before that Diddy said somebody could die and she took it as a death threat. Okay. This is interesting. Dawn is standing on her claim. She's like, I said what I said. Now, again, she could say, well, I forgot that detail in the story, but she's not backing down that she heard or believed that Diddy made a threat. And the threat that she heard was niggas could go missing. What she took that to mean is that people could die. So that was a death threat, right? Let me listen to a little bit of this.
And this is a law channel, and we are about to break down the first week of the day to you what the charges are in the Diddy trial, how the government is going about proving those charges, and whether they've been successful at demonstrating any of this criminal activity. Now, if you're watching this video, I assume you know who P. Diddy is, so I'm just going to get straight into what's going on. So when we're talking about P. Diddy's criminal trial, we're talking about 5 charges, but really 3 separate crimes. Okay,
yes, 5 charges. Okay, good.
So the first count is racketeering conspiracy to prove.
Okay, this is good. This is good.
Racketeering conspiracy by the government. You need to know the existence of the enterprise, bad boy.
Yes. So the racketeering conspiracy, that's the RICO charge. You got to prove that there is a criminal organization, that people were operating and willingly going along with either covering up the crime, doing the crime, facilitating the crime in some way, or profiting from the crime, right? You also have to show that there are these predicate offenses, at least 2 of them. So predicate offense could be murder and kidnapping. It has to be 2. If it's only murder, right? If it's only murder and a singular murder, that is, if it's 2 counts of murder, it could be still racketeering. But if it's only 1 murder or 1 crime, it cannot be racketeering conspiracy. It could still be a conspiracy. Like, for example, if it was a singular bank robbery, that's a conspiracy, right? But it's not necessarily a racketeering conspiracy. You have to show a pattern. And I'm pretty sure he's going to say the next thing is a pattern.
Entertainment, or for instance, if it's the mafia, you got to prove the mob actually exists. Exactly. Or if it's a street gang, you prove the street gang exists. The Bloods, for instance. You also need an agreement to participate by the defendant. And
people were whatever.
You need a pattern of racketeering activity. Now, with this last one, this pattern of racketeering activity, you may hear the term RICO predicates.
You could use it as probable cause for a warrant, couldn't you?
Okay, yeah, you need 2 predicates. So again, a predicate could be sex trafficking and arson, or sex trafficking, kidnapping, or sex, like you need 2 of those, right? Because it's a
you know the
amalgam
name of that
of crimes that the organization
China
is doing.
cabinet.
And then that's the predicate, and then we have overt, which is okay, we're about to go kidnap a nigga, then kill him. So say we do both. Both of those could be, say we do it in a pattern, so maybe the multiple people. We could get hit with a RICO, but then they're gonna add overt acts. Overt acts are not crimes, but it could be like every time they go do that, Ak always gets the rope and the duct tape. He gets the rope, the duct tape. His friend gets the stolen car, and the other nigga always gets the gun. Those are overt acts. Don't mean they're crimes, but they're necessary to prove that people were, again, willing participants and were meant to do this.
Evidence of extortion, intent to defraud. Those are RICO predicates, right?
Now, there are about 23 different crimes that the government's alleging that P. Diddy did. And here are some of those crimes, like sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. And the government, again, just has to prove 2 of those things to get a conviction of the RICO statute. Then you also have sex trafficking by force, which we are going to go over in detail. And we also have transportation to engage in prostitution, which is known as the Mann Act, which essentially means you're paying for prostitutes to cross state lines. And we'll go into detail with that count too. So at the end of the day, these 3 individual charges and 5 counts.
Okay, so perfect. I like how this guy lays it out, because I would have had to bring up the last superseding indictment to remind us what the fuck we're in court for. So let me give you what everything is kind of carrying. But I've never watched this video, and I think even me ad-libbing, I think will be about similar in what I'm saying and what he's gonna say.
All right, that's straight. Thank you.
Or me riffing the ad-libbing.
I'll see you later.
Racketeering, for the most part, when you see a RICO charge, think 20 years. Okay? Just think 20 years. Most racketeering charges, if you blow trial, they're going to go for 20 years. That's about it. Even if, especially if there's no cooperation, and even if it's your first conviction. There's certain things, say there was wire fraud and some other stuff, they might go for 15 or, rarely 10. But if you go to trial on racketeering, they want 20. Now, if there's a murder, that's a predicate act under racketeering, they want life. Okay? In this situation, right? Sex trafficking could potentially, and we could look up the federal statute on that. Sex trafficking federal sentence. If it carries 10 to life. Okay, so yeah, there's nothing that is like mandatory life. Usually murder is mandatory life, or at least 35 to life or whatever. So from everything I saw as the predicate acts, there's nothing that carries necessarily mandatory act, but they could. So it'll be like 10-2. It's a range, 10-2, right? And then obviously they have guidelines. Obviously, if you cooperate, they could go below the guidelines. But if you have like other Fed charges or your criminal history, or there's a bunch of things that could just ramp it up, they could give you life. That's why they say Diddy's facing life. But theoretically, I think if Diddy's, how old is Diddy right now? How old is Diddy? Diddy right now is 55. 20 years, if they get that 20 on him. By the way, he has no criminal history from what no federal criminal history or no federal felonious criminal history from what I've been told. So let's say they get him, but still is sex trafficking. If they catch him on sex trafficking for racketeering, he's getting 20. They got to give him 20, right? So that's going to be 75. The other charges, obviously, I think they would run it concurrently instead of consecutively, but still. If you're possibly going to be in jail till 70 plus, a lot of people feel like that's tantamount to a life sentence. But technically, he has charges that could carry up to life, but not mandated life. When you see murder, it's do or die. It's life. Like for example, with K Flock, even though he's
Not necessarily
years of age,
not all the time.
21 or 20.
Not all the time.
If he had got found guilty of murder within the racketeering case, he would have gotten automatic life. Like they can't do nothing.
Depending on the state he was at,
he didn't. That's why he has a chance to get out.
And the circumstances.
I think he'll get out by he's
not always. No.
Pending appeal, if they get appeal, right? So count one. I think Diddy's facing 20 here. This is what I've always said. I think Diddy's facing 20, right? Like it sounds good to say he's facing life. He's not gonna get life. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna get life, right? He doesn't have a criminal history. There's not like these other like really extreme factors that are going to push for them to say life in prison. They're going to give him 20. So that really the top charge is count one. That's 20, right? Count three. And by the way, this is the hardest one to beat. It's racketeering. They got mad different predicate offenses that he's charged with. And then fuck the over offenses. Those don't really matter in the case of like found guilty or not. And then being sentenced, even though you would consider the overt when you're sentenced, but still. Let's just say 20 years. I'm trying to make it simple. I'm trying to make you understand this. Count 3 and 5. Now, here's why, well, really count 2 to 5. Remember, it's really just a racketeering conspiracy for sex trafficking. Count 2 and 4, this is important. The reason why they gave him 2 different counts. Count 2 is for Cassie solely. Here's why they charge it separately. In racketeering, you need a pattern and you need multiple. If they can't, remember, they don't have a lot of victims like we think. If they can't get both victims, because there's 2 main victims, there's more than 2, it is like 5. But charge in the racketeering conspiracy, for sex trafficking, there's 2 main victims, right? There's other victims, like other victims for his witness intimidation. There's victims for arson. Like technically Kid Cudi would be seen as a victim, but not really, because even though it's supposedly one of the acts in the racketeering. I hope I'm not like going too much and confusing you. So I'm trying to tell you the strategy of how the government wants to convict him. So if he blows trial and get convicted of 1, 20 years, they're giving him 20. If he beats 1, they still don't want him to get out. They want to catch him. If it's so, I think you guys get it. And check. I know somebody says play the video instead of yapping. I don't think he's gonna go down the route of going down. I'm talking about convictions. So we're fast forwarding to 8 weeks in the trial. he has to try to beat one or else he's fucked. If he beats one, here's the thing. The reason, if he beats one, he automatically is going to beat 2 or 4. Because if he's guilty of 2 and 4, he's guilty of 1. Okay? So if he's guilty of sex trafficking, 2, which is Cassie, and 4, which is Jane Doe, both of them is RICO. You get what I'm saying? So if he's guilty of 2 and 4, he's guilty of 1. If he beats one, they likely could get him 2 or 4. Okay? And then the other one, which this is the lightest one, is transportation, because this is 10 years. So if he beats 1, I think the strongest one, the other one's going to be 2, which is Cassie. This is the Cassie charge. Count 2 is Cassie charge. So if he beats the racketeering, the Cassie charge could still get him 20. The Jane Doe charge could still get him 20. But I think Cassie's a stronger witness or a stronger victim. So I think he needs to beat 1, which I think if he beats 1, he beats 4. And then he needs to beat 2, which is beat Cassie. And then after that, who gives a fuck? Yeah, of course he had hoes. Like, he could even plead guilty to 3 or 5. I'm pretty sure if they came to him with a plea for just 3 and 5, he would have took that plea. 100%. But they probably wanted him to plead guilty to count 2, and they would have dismissed everything else. That would have been 20 years, and then they would have, well, not necessarily 20 years. They could have went below it and say, we're gonna recommend 10 to 15, right? Because let's see, what does sex trafficking sentence guidelines? Here we go. It's gonna tell us. I think it's below 20. Come on, give us years. Give us years. Fuck the guidelines. All right, it's sentencing federal. Here we go. We'll find it. Okay, 10 years to life. Bingo. So remember, RICO, you're getting the 20. You got to beat the RICO. Sex trafficking is over 10. So 10 to life. So I think the plea they gave him is no, like that whole thought they gave him 5 years. Fuck out of here. The only way they could give him 5 is if he goes count 3 or 5. And at that point, that means why would the government before trial say, hey, we're going to dismiss the Cassie shit, the Jane Doe shit, and the racketeering shit to give you just prostitution charges and give you 5 years. So they want a sex trafficking charge to stick. Now, remember, let's Google that. Let's Google that. Transportation to engage in prostitution, federal sentence. They're going to tell us right here. That carries a maximum. Wait, hold on. Wait, here we go. If it has minors, it's generally 10 years. The penalties, I had seen 5 to 10. I could be wrong on that. I know that's the lightest sentence they have. As long as there's no minors in it. Okay. It's the Mann Act. Let's see years. Okay. The federal act imposes a punishment for not more than 5 years. So the Mann Act is like around 5 years, okay? The Mann Act, as long as it doesn't deal with no kids. Obviously, there's going to be a range because of it's 2 people, also the length. But I do know they could go as low as 5. So that's why when we were hearing this thing that Diddy could get 5 years in a plea, they would have to waive both of these, waive this, and give him one of these, and give him 5 years. What the fuck? Like, at that point, Diddy's probably gonna be like, oh, y'all got nothing on me then. I'm taking this shit. I would have took the 5. But still. Okay, cool. So now we know what he's charged for. I hope I just understood. Like, by the way, Drill, clip this so that people can understand what Diddy's really facing. You know, I wanted to make it simple. Racketeering, 20. Count 2 to 4, 2 or 4, but not guilty of racketeering, at least, I got to say 15. Right? His best bet is not guilty of everything, but his best bet is the middle counts. Just prostitution, he could get 5 to 15 or whatever, but he has no criminal history. They're going to give him 5, right? They're going to give him 5, and then he's been in jail for like damn near a year. He'll get out in 2 years. and he's still like, you know what I mean, baby oiling it up. Okay. So if he gets found guilty of this, he's cool. Guilty of this, he's fucked. Guilty of this and this, he ain't coming back. So this and this, not coming back. Just 2 or 4, still 15 years. Just 3 or 5 or 3 and 5, under 10. So the only way he gets life is 1. He has to get convicted of this conspiracy. And also, just that you know, they're contingent. If he gets found not guilty of 1, he can't get found guilty of 2 and 4. The jury guidelines.
I don't know. We gotta look at Jane Doe first. We don't know what's up with Jane Doe. We just know what's up with Cassie.
2 is Cassie, 4 is Jane Doe. All right. Sorry, Chad.
Overall are what the government is seeking to prove to put P. Diddy away for life. Now, to prove their case, the government has started with calling 5 witnesses this first week. The first is Israel Flores. He's a former assistant security director at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles, and now he is an LAPD officer. Now, the Intercontinental Hotel is where Diddy was caught on video beating Cassie, and he's the security guard that responded to Cassie's call for help, and he's also seen in that video. Next up is a man named Daniel Phillip. He's a former male escort and exotic.
Yeah, this is how the escort looks. This nigga looks like a porn star, man. Broad nose, bald head, and this thing like he was just a professional cockslayer.
Performer. Now, being a male escort, Phillips testified that he participated in multiple freak-offs involving Cassie, and that he felt that Cassie at sometimes was not a willing participant in the freak-offs. Next, you had Diddy's longtime girlfriend, Cassie. She's a singer, model, and she was the one who participated in a lot of these freak-offs. She said too many to count. Now, she is seen on video getting beaten by Diddy, and she testified to the abuse, the sex trafficking, and the prostitution that was going on from state to state. You also have Dawn Richard, who was a former member of Danity Kane, the girl group created by Combs, and she also was in a group with Combs himself called Dirty Money. And she saw some of the abuse that occurred between Combs and Cassie. And last but not least, you have an agent from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. These are the people who conducted the raids on Diddy's houses, and they testified to the drugs and all the other debauchery they found in the house. All right, so now you know the witnesses. Let's get into the charges. First, let's start with the easiest one to prove, which is transportation to engage in prostitution. It's 18 U.S.C. section 2421, and they are counts 3 and 5. Now, this is known as the Mann Act. Now, the Mann Act has 2 elements the government has to prove. One, you transport someone between states, and you intended for that person who you transported across state lines to engage in prostitution. So
now, I know this guy's doing a good job too, but I like to try to make it even simpler than simple. If we want to derive how all these charges come about, all right, I'm at 3:45. Let me just go back to this. I want y'all to understand these charges, because sometimes, anytime I'm hearing people talk about this, people talk about this like they don't know what the fuck Diddy's charged with. So we're good. We're trying to make everything simple. So, count 3 and 5, which is transportation, which is the Mann Act. That is it's the basis that all of these other charges kind of really fall under. So, the White Slave Act, right, which was created in 1910, it was a broad definition. It basically said you're paying somebody for sex and bring them across state line only for sex. But people travel these days, and people do porn, and some things are consensual. Like it was so broad. And by the way, here's the thing too. There was some terms in it, right? There was some terms in it, right? We read this before. They would say, look, it's also a felony to coerce an individual into immoral acts. This was when morality existed in the United States. So, for example, if you brought somebody across states to have orgies, threesomes, you have them to fuck random guys, you brought them to film sexual acts, like all the things that are like normal now. Like, not saying all those things are necessarily normal, but it was, they had this term about immorality in the law. Well, I keep telling y'all, the morals have changed over time. People do all type of shit. You got these bitches fucking 1,000 niggas. It's crazy. So what happened is that law, it became very tough for government to keep charging people with it. So they then narrowed it down. That's where you get, even under that, you get, for example, sex trafficking. So sex trafficking gets birthed out of that and out of this human trafficking like branch. Like you have to create like a whole tree. But the Mann Act, so count 3 and 5 is the top act. And this is why it doesn't give automatic life, because there's a lot of like, you could bring a girl, you could fly in a girl to have a threesome with a married man. And that was called debauchery at the time. The law says debauchery is wrong, right? So that's why they start making it more and more defined as to what the society was doing. Dudes would get young, pretty girls or immigrants who didn't have papers, but they were women, and say, I'm about to bring them over here. Y'all got no choice. If y'all want y'all papers, your livelihood, we're going to get these niggas to fuck you. They're going to pay us this. We're going to give you nothing. And then they created sex trafficking. Okay? So that's why that's a more serious charge. And obviously the RICO obviously existed from mafia and also some corrupt organizations that was happening in corporate America. And then they folded up sex trafficking under that, just to let you know. Anyway, sorry. I know I do a lot of yapping here, but if you watch this stream, we're not only reading tweets, and we'll get caught up on tweets right now. We're trying to give, if you watch here, I want you guys to have like a real understanding of what the fuck we're talking about. Not just like this sensationalized, like they rub the fucking semen on somebody's nipples. Okay, let me get caught up on tweets, and then we'll watch a little bit more.
Freaky ass nigga.
So Combs Westmoreland says, yo, let's move to the alleged incident before the Central Park concert. Were you aware there was a camera crew? Dawn Richards says, not in the bathroom. Westmoreland says, you were filmed in a park. Are you aware that has been turned over? She said no. Now, that's very important. Remember, she said Cassie got punched in the eye swole up. She said they went to the Central Park thing, and they both wore glasses in solidarity, okay? Dawn says she didn't know there was videos in the park. Whatever. I'm not sure what point Diddy's lawyers is trying to make, but I'm pretty sure it'll come back up. Combs' lawyer says, about the guns, you ain't tell the prosecutors, wait, you didn't tell the prosecutors about, I saw guns at Daddy's house? Dawn says they didn't ask. So it looked like she mentioned she saw weapons in some type of either civil suit or somewhere else, but, or when she was being on direct, but she never told the prosecutors in conversation when it's a pre-trial interview. Westmoreland says, so you never seen Mr. Combs pull out a gun and wave it around, load bullets or cock it, right? Dawn Richards said, he just had it. Okay. Diddy's lawyer says, did you tell the government you never saw Combs do cocaine? I don't recall. Combs' lawyer says, your testimony has changed on quite a few things, huh? She says, as time progresses, I remember more. By the way, this is great. This is great, you know? Because now she's admitting that her memory is unreliable. And if it's unreliable, then now you're saying you remember more. Maybe some of your biases come out. Who knows? Diddy's lawyer says, you saw One Stop sell drugs. Did you see him take money? I guess One Stop is a person. Did you see him take money? Dawn says, yes. Westmoreland says, all right, 1 second. Didn't you tell the government you never saw anyone pay him? So you lied, right? Chat. If y'all been watching my streams, y'all know what I'm about to play. If y'all been watching my streams, y'all know what I'm about to play. I like using references.
You know you done fucked up, don't you?
What movie reference I'm about to use right now?
You know you done fucked up, right?
At 12, 15.
You know you done fucked up, right? I knew where he was going with that bitch.
You see something?
I ain't gotta watch his ass know where he going. You know you done fucked up.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
You know you done fucked
You know fucked up, right?
I see what I'm saying. I thought. No, so, you know what I'm saying? That you done fucked up now, you know that, don't you? Yeah. I know you done fucked up, don't you? No, it don't. No, you done fucked up. Without.
Oh, man. Yeah, this is an epic scene.
A beer at 11:15.
At 11, yeah, at 11:15. Yeah, 11:15.
Then why wasn't the bottle cleaned up? Why did we find it still there, spilled on the floor after the shoot?
After we was leaving, after I left, other people was coming in. When we was leaving.
But you don't remember what they.
But they looked.
But you bought the bottle of beer, definitely at 12:15.
You gave a different time. You bought it at 12:50, right?
It was 12:15. Exactly. If I'm not mistaken.
You see something? Now you see now, you done fucked up. You got that.
That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Yo, they're using her statement to the government, her testimony on direct, and her civil case to basically be like, you had 3 opportunities to tell us what the story is. You've either left things out, made up new things that we've never heard before, or you now have changed your story completely. The judge says sidebar. The judge has done a sidebar. Okay. They're back from the sidebar a minute ago. It says, Westmoreland says, that's Diddy's lawyer, it was you who reached out to Combs to work with him again, right? She says yes. Westmoreland says, but he had threatened you though before, right? But you asked him to work with him again. She said yes. Westmoreland says okay. So what they're pointing out is that after the time that she claimed, and by the way, this is a good job by Diddy on defense. Everybody's claiming that Diddy did A, B, C, and D. He's a monster. But after he did these acts of monstrosity, they would go back. So Cassie, you say he raped you on this day, but you text him you missed him on that day. It's after. You said he raped you then, but then you gave him the pussy willingly then. You were okay. You said you had to approach Diddy with softness because you were scared of him, and you never jumped in when Cassie got her ass beat because you were scared of Diddy. You said you heard him threaten to kill somebody, but then you asked to work back with him. Hold on. Not gonna lie, I think they're doing a good job of trying to one by one knock down these witness credibility. Now, this is why I'm telling you, they don't want too many witnesses like this because it's only so much you'll be able to do it before the like a regular sane juror says, man, all these motherfuckers can't be lying. You know? Okay. Let's see if they rest. They might rest. They might rest here. That's a good place to rest. So they just proved you reached out to Diddy to work with him, even though the last time you said he was threatening to kill people and he had threatened you, you wanted to work with him. She said yes. This is a good place to be like, no. Judge, I think we done seen enough. We done seen enough. This chick right here, she full of shit. Her stories switch all the time. She got new information today. She never said the other 2 times. She's saying bullshit on the record, talking about the more this case goes along or the more time goes along, she remembers more. Do the math on that. Who the hell remembers more the more time passes? Unless maybe you're trying to make up a story. So I think the lawyers, and by the way, let's go with chat. Let's go back over Diddy's lawyer strategy. Brian Steele, who we know is a bulldog. That's the pit bull right there. They get him on. He's probably going to do much more too. But he goes with Flores. Okay, he goes with Flores. He demolishes Flores by saying, you said she didn't want to call the cops. Why isn't that in the report? You mentioned the whole situation with Diddy about him putting his hand there. Some of it's mentioned in the thing, but not all of it. Why isn't things you're saying now in your report? And also, nigga, it's 8 years after that shit happened. How the hell, King Buck, thank you for the gift of membership. How the hell you got better memory now than when you wrote your report that day?
That bit fun.
So they got at him.
That shit.
Who else popped up on the stand? The sex worker. Who dealt with a sex worker? So we had, think about how Diddy's using all his lawyers like an Avengers. Tenny does Tenny Garagos. Let's write down the names, chat.
Doing them bitches.
Let's write down the names.
He actually doing
Let's
them
write
like
down names. You know I love
Ash did Pokemon.
I gotta open up Microsoft Paint.
Brian Steele, go.
Notebook, notepad. Let's think about how Diddy's using all of his fucking
nigga using them bit
all
like
of his fucking
Pokemon
lawyers. Right?
And they, like Ash did Pokemon. Display capture. Pikachu, go.
Shit. Last time I used it was a while ago. All right, baby. Here we go. So, sorry. Here we go. So these are all Diddy's lawyers. Teddy Garagos,
go.
Statements. And Cassie Cross. Okay? Tenny does opening and Cassie Cross. Mark Agnafilio
Mark Agnifilio
does
go
every morning. He does the administrative pre-day motions, right? He hasn't done much work other than that. We haven't seen him with a witness. Brian Steele discredited Flores, security guard, in Cass video. Who else? Xavier Donaldson. He goes as sex worker and shows how Cassie requested certain acts and initiated. Now hold on, who else? Alexandra, damn, I got good memory, even with the Henny. Oh my God. Alexander Shapiro, appellate lawyer, prevent evidence from being admitted. I'm showing you all their roles here, chat. My bad. I can't see the whole thing. So this is what we got. Remember, he got 9 lawyers. Everybody got 1,
I'm gonna
2,
start the stream over.
3, 4, 5.
Stream over, y'all.
Then we have Estavio, right? I forgot her last name. I think it's Maria Estevao. I think that's her name.
Maria
Who did she
No.
No. Tenny didn't do Cassie Cross. My bad. Sorry. Tenny didn't do Cassie Cross. That was Estavio. That was Estavio, people. My bad.
Yep. Yeah.
That was Cassie Cross. Look, everybody on here, this is like a well-balanced team.
It was a lady.
You're not using, and you got to imagine, each of these people have probably 1 or 2 things to do. This is your only job. This is your only job, motherfucker. This is your only job. By the way, I think she did a good job on Cassie Cross, because I think at the end, exposed Cassie's ass. Exposed her. I think she exposed her. Okay? Now, where are we at with it? We had number 6. We had number 6. This is Nicole Westmoreland. Okay? And she is Dawn Richard or Rashad. By the way, I don't think she started on Friday. Did Westmoreland start on Friday? Because Rashad was going on Friday. Her testimony started on Friday. Looked like over the weekend, she had to become a Dawn Rashad expert. Bruh. Yo, if the Lakers bench was like this, they'll be lit.
Would have never
Everybody's
fucking
moving
lost.
and grooving.
Would have never fucking
Everybody's
lost.
moving and motherfucking grooving.
Would have beat the shit out of
Ant-Man. I would like to say, I won't count them as an
never
attorney,
lost to
like
Ant-Man,
because it's
though.
not on the official attorney list. But Mark Garagos, PR.
And would have beat the shit out of
In the
Curry
side, in
and
the
the
cut.
Warriors too, and Shada.
Damn.
With that
right.
bitch. If that's
Let
the
me tell you
bench,
this. If
you
Diddy
talking about
beat
the
this,
bench.
this is
That's
a
the
new
bench.
super team Avengers of lawyers. If Diddy loses, it's no way he could have won it.
It's the
No
Lakers and the Knicks in the finals.
He got the best of the best. By the way,
that on the
the
bench.
best of the yo. Let's go back into it. Number 1, you got to get a woman across Cassie. You got to get a woman to do it. Right? Tenny does opening statements. Mark Agnifilio, he's chilling in the back, but he's almost like the quarterback coach. Not really quarterback coach. He's kind of like the coach, offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator all in one. Brian Steele. Brian Steele's he's like the fullback or the running back you bring in when it's 4th and 1 and you just need, nigga, get the ball and run straight through the fucking hole. We don't care what happens. That's Brian Steele. You ain't gonna bring him for the finesse situation. Xavier Donaldson, I think he might be the weakest one, but because if there was ever a time that I thought he could have done better, it could have been Xavier. Shapiro, she's doing an amazing job. Estavio, she fucking killed it. I think she had Cassie. Her last day was pretty good. And Westmoreland's now doing it with Dawn. By the way, she's a survivor of sexual assault. So Nicole Westmoreland's a survivor of sexual assault. I think we could look this up too, real quick. Nicole Westmoreland. She's also a African American woman, I believe. Yeah, she's an African American woman. And I believe, she's an African American woman. Black woman up there. Let's bring a black woman to go holler at her. You get what I'm saying? So Dawn Rashad, give her. So you give Dawn Rashad Nicole Westmoreland. You give Cassie, Maria Estevayo, whatever her name is. You get what I'm saying? I can't find it.
Estevo.
I'll find it.
Estevo.
So this is really.
I'm kind of good
really
with
like
pronunciation and certain shit. I don't know. I can't explain.
Oh no, it's Anna. Oh my bad. It's not Maria. It's Anna. Anna.
Estevo.
Yeah, my bad.
That's what I think. If he was spelling it right.
Anna. Lawyer. I want to see how she looks. Can't find a fucking picture. Let's see how this one. Whatever. You know she ain't black. That's all you need to know. She definitely ain't black, nigga. You know she ain't black. All right. Okay. So let me just change this name. It's not Maria. It's Anna. Okay. All right. So we're 6 lawyers in. Chat.
She's not black, but they all come from
We're
the black.
6 lawyers in.
Paycheck would be $138,000.
Yeah, I don't know how Estevayo looks like.
Making it.
I can find it.
You got paid every 2 weeks, bro. With this job at 3.6.
Somebody will give me a picture of it. Don't worry. Cool. All right, let's get back. So 6 lawyers in. We got 3 more we ain't see yet. Westmoreland says, the songs you released on your own have not really reached the level of what you released with Danny Kane, right? Or Diddy Dirty Money, right? She said true. Westmoreland then says, and you reach out to Combs to try to make some more money, right? So they're all, she's painting a picture that y'all have nothing to say. Y'all all leave and return. And it seems like, if anything, money is always the financial incentive.
Just followed you.
It wasn't about y'all.
Hey, I appreciate that. That was up, man. That's what's up. I'm gonna follow you back in a minute.
Y'all wanted to make some.
Follow me on IG too and my TikTok. I'm trying to get my TikTok going. You know what I'm saying?
And he would allow y'all, but y'all were thinking about your own pockets.
So, you know what I'm
but
saying?
now y'all claiming y'all could testify to
create a positive impact a day and later. I fuck with you. That's real.
Westmoreland says, and you reach out to Mr. Combs to try to make more. She says yes. AUSA says, can we have a short sidebar? And say it's not short. Still wondering why the side's legal arguments. Okay, cool.
Man, my stream be real good. Be real good until people come on here and then they be trying to sell me stuff.
Multiple states by Diddy, to LA, NYC, Vegas, Miami, all for these freak offs. And then you also had Daniel Phillip. Remember the sex worker? He described being brought to various cities by Combs and Cassie Request, and he was paid for sex on those trips. So it seems like the government has put up some proof that yes.
My bad. I found.
Yeah, man. I need somebody to make clips and stuff. I pay for that and all that. You feel me? Like manage my page. Yeah, but I ain't really trying to buy no art. I need somebody to do clips and to help manage my page for real. I need somebody to be a part of the team for real. Like I don't need that. I got the art down pat for real.
This is her.
And I stream all the time. I'm trying to do this 24-hour shit. We finna see how it go.
Which can you play often?
I want you to understand what's happening here. Diddy is playing this.
Yeah, this 2K right now, and I'm waiting on that motherfucking GTA 6.
Remember I told you how he looked? Daniel Phillip.
Yeah.
Diddy
I'm going in on GTA 6.
Remember, I told you he looks on the stand. Is this guy? It's a black guy. He's 41 now.
You know,
Got a
GTA
bald
6
head.
in
He
Florida.
was the dick slanger and one of the escorts. Okay,
Boy,
this
got
is
the
him.
crib.
Okay?
That.
Who does Diddy put
We following the Diddy trial right now. We're on the Diddy trial. You can go to my other page, the Lit
guy
House.
who went to
THA
Howard as well.
Lit
Also
House.
black.
LIT.
Diddy's
House.
saying, we got a shooter for your shooter.
THA.
Whoever y'all got, we got. Oh, the black guy who bald-headed, we got a bald-headed nigga too. Our bald-headed nigga go in and interrogate your bald-headed witness. Fuck out of here. We got some, put the black guy with a black guy. Oh, Cassie, you want to come out? Okay. We got some socially ambiguous or racially ambiguous shit for you too. Oh, Dawn Rashad? Yo, come here, Nicole Westmoreland. Handle that. Yo, I'm telling you, they're meeting demographics even lawyer-wise. Diddy is on some other shit. The luxury tax for this shit got to be on some Yankees numbers.
For sure.
Everybody is getting, Brian, and you got to realize,
into my other one. Go follow the Lit House. THALIT House.
Brian still handles the Spanish dude. Tenny does opening. Let me go back to my list. Xavier Donaldson handles the black guy with bald head. Mark is just like he's like the kind of player coach. Alexandra Shapiro, she's doing appellate shit. And Estavio does Cassie. They both look like they're from the same place. You know what I'm saying? And Westmoreland is doing the black chick. Oh, this is lit. This is lit. All right, hold on.
People were transported across state lines by Combs knowingly. Now they had to prove the intent for prostitution. Well, how did they do that? Well, again, they brought Cassie Ventura off, and she testified that she was involved in these freak-offs, the sex parties. They were planned by Combs. There were multiple sex workers there, and she recounted specific events in New York and LA where these sex acts occurred. Also, they had Daniel Phillips testify about the sessions and the sex acts that he had in various cities, in various hotel suites paid for by Combs, which confirms the interstate travel for prostitution piece. Remember, he said he was paid to have sex with Cassie for these freak-offs. So when it comes to transportation to engage in prostitution under the law, it seems like the government has checked both those boxes. They have 2 witnesses and more that are going to testify about the freak-offs being flown out to multiple states to have commercial sex. Next, we're going to look at the sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion charges. How has the government in this first week put on evidence to show this? The elements for sex trafficking is the defendant knowingly caused a person to engage in a commercial sex act, means of coercion.
Go tap into the Lit House too while you at that. I appreciate that. I'm gonna follow you back when I get get on the channel and shit.
Please hit the like button. You know they're trying to shadow ban us, they try to cancel us, they try to do whatever. All we need you to do is hit the like button. We're trying to.
I'm posting some shit on Facebook Marketplace. As soon as I get off that
breakdown
shit,
of what's going on
I'm gonna follow
in
you
the
back
moment. As we're not in court, but we're using every resource
Matter
possible.
of fact, I gotta pull Twitch up right now.
If you're watching on Rumble,
I gotta pull
make
Twitch
sure
up
you guys
right now.
are
Matter of fact,
subscribed or following, and definitely if
pull
you're
Twitch
watching
up
on
right
tape,
now.
please do the same. Also, if you're mad,
By the way, I have
Coercion was either force, threats of force, fraud, coercion, or anything that would get someone or force someone to engage in a commercial sex act, and then it had to be done across state lines. So let's start with the first element, knowingly engaging in sex trafficking. Have the government put on any evidence to show that Diddy knowingly caused a person to engage in commercial sex acts? Well, just before we get into that, let me define what a commercial sex act is. A commercial sex act is any sexual act in exchange for something of value, money, drugs, housing, career opportunities. So how did the government show this first week that Diddy knowingly caused someone to engage in commercial sex acts? Well, they put up Cassie Ventura, and she testified that Combs was the one who orchestrated the freak-offs, watched, recorded, gave instructions, paid the escorts. Even though Cassie didn't receive any payments, she said her career opportunities or her job was in jeopardy because she was expected to participate. She was flown to multiple different cities and complied out of fear. Also, we have Daniel Phillip, the male escort. He testified that he was paid about $4,000 in some instances to have sex with Cassie on multiple occasions in multiple different states. He claimed that Combs in the room directed them, sometimes recording. These sessions took place in hotels. He did everything from the payments, the setup, the location. He also confirmed the transactional nature of all this. And he said, quote, Diddy gave instructions. He directed us like a seed. He wanted to see something specific. So does this prove that Diddy knowingly caused people to engage in commercial sex acts? Well, the government thinks so. Now we're going to move to the next element, means of coercion. Now here the government has to prove that there was some force, threat of force, fraud, or coercion to essentially get the person to engage in commercial sex acts. And here, prosecutors focused in on that force, threat of force, and coercion aspect of it. For instance, Daniel Phillips, he said that he witnessed Combs physically abuse Cassie. He noted Cassie was emotionally detached, visibly uncomfortable during the sex. Quote, he said she looked like she didn't want to be there. He also described the intense control that he had about the directions and watching and recording every time. And even on top of that, he said he feared Combs too. Now, his testimony seems to corroborate the both physical and psychological coercion that Combs initiated to force Cassie to continue to do these particular sex acts. Then we also have Cassie Ventura's testimony about how she was physically abused, how he kicked her, punched her, dragged her, stomped on her head. She said that the freak-offs were not optional. I didn't want to be there, she said, but I didn't feel like I could say no. Combs even used what's known as emotional manipulation. He threatened her music career, which is coercion. He kept her from leaving, again, physically. So that's force again. Combs' demeanor was described as cold and dangerous. The security guard said he can prove that you committed 2 of these crimes.
Yeah. Now, one of the things too with the pattern of racketeering activity, it's and this is why RICO charges are so popular. Statute of limitations actually almost get thrown out the window, because if you used to commit, if they could trace you committing that crime all the way back to the 40s, even if the statute of limitations on that particular crime is, let's say, 10 years, they could reference and use you committing the crime back in the 40s. And actually, the statute of limitations when it comes to RICO cases is just that there's been the last time in the pattern is within the last 10 years. This is why even when people denounce street gangs, it takes fully 10 years of you not being involved in any activity that that street gang is accused of or supposedly involved in, that you could be somewhat absolved, because it would be hard for the government then to say you're still part of this gang operating in this pattern. So it takes 10 years.
Then you can go to jail for life under RICO. Now, I need people to understand, since this is a RICO conspiracy, Combs doesn't even have to know if any of those other crimes are actually being committed to be held accountable under the RICO conspiracy statute. So now let's look at the list of crimes that the government is alleging that P. Diddy Combs has committed that falls into this pattern of racketeering activity. Now, I put them in a nice chart, and this is from the indictment. You got kidnapping, arson, bribery, witness tampering, forced labor, sex trafficking, prostitution, transportation, drug distribution. Now, from this list, the government only has to prove 2 of these things happened within the past 10 years from this enterprise. Now, from this list of charges, the government...
So
I went to the wrong
if you're wondering, okay, we're getting some big witnesses. Why is this going to take 8 weeks? And this is why RICO cases take long. You got to speak on all these predicate acts. So kidnapping, that would be very clear. The video of Cassie not being able to leave, that would be considered kidnapping or bringing her back.
Oh, Home Meet TV. You on a lit house, so you need to go to Home Meet TV.
You're gonna have to show a little bit more.
I'm telling you about the wrong one.
Kid Cudi to take the stand, but arson has to do with his car.
You on the lit house, nigga. You on the other.
They got to get some type of report.
My main one is
obviously they had some other people who have made statements that was going to corroborate the fact that Kid Cudi's car was blown up. But I think you need a little bit more to prove that in a predicate sense. Now, I don't think this is one of the stronger RICO predicate offenses, but bribery will be. Hey, he gave us $50,000 for us not to put out the video. He gave us $50,000 or whatever amount to destroy the evidence. He gave us so, and then this kind of goes right in line with obstruction of justice, right? Now, kidnapping, I think that's the big one. Now, here's the thing: a predicate act of obstruction of justice, you're not going to get 20 years, right? Like, they're not going to give you a RICO for obstruction of justice. Obstruction of justice is usually a hanger-on charge. Forced labor, trafficking, that's a serious one. And sex trafficking, those are kind of almost related, right? So this is a trafficking and sex trafficking. And then again, remember, even the prostitution charge that by itself is the Mann Act. That's also underneath it. And drug trafficking. So here's what I think is going to happen, right? I think he's going to get, let me not predict what I think is going to happen. I'll tell you which ones I think they won't prove. I think proving drug trafficking is going to be hard because it's not drug possession. Drug trafficking means that there's some commercialization or commercial intent with the drugs that supposedly this person has. You're going to prove that Diddy was moving weight? Like, come on. And I don't think so. Also arson. I think it's gonna be, if Kid Cudi doesn't cooperate, maybe about some of the correspondence he has. I know Cassie's talking about a conversation that was had between her, Kid Cudi, and Diddy, where he says to Diddy, "Yo, what happened? Well, what about my car?" And Diddy says, "What car, little nigga?" Is that enough to prove that Diddy burned his car down or blew up his car? I don't know. So I think arson's weak. I think drug trafficking is weak. I think bribery is going to be strong because I think they're going to have transactions. I think kidnapping is strong. Obstruction of justice, that kind of goes with bribery a little bit, but it's not that heavy. Forced labor and sex trafficking, I think those are in the middle. I think he could probably get away with these. And you see the kidnapping thing, yeah, they don't have him for violence, but they could try to use the violence and him pulling her back as part of kidnapping, right? So we'll see.
I think has for sure proven transportation for prostitution. They have the prostitutes up there saying, yeah, we were traveled from New York to Miami to engage in these freak offs and get paid for it, right? So 13G seems to be well on its way to being proven. And then we also have the sex trafficking allegations. We not only have Cassie sex trafficking allegations, we have some other women. Now, what about 13H? Drug distribution. There were drugs at these parties. Well, the escort and Cassie testified to it. The raids on Diddy's homes. The Homeland Security person also testified that they found illegal drugs in Diddy's properties, along with the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. What about bribery of a witness? The hotel security guard said that Diddy tried to hand him a lot of cash and told him to keep quiet. Well, is this bribery? And if it is, that's a RICO predicate. Now, remember, the government doesn't have to prove them all. They just have to show 2 of them. And I think they are well on their way to showing more than 2 of these RICO predicates in the Combs case. Now, it's important to note, this was just week 1 of the trial. These were just the first couple of witnesses. So we have a lot more to go. And then we also have the defense putting up their witnesses to show that this didn't happen or...
Okay, so we kind of get like a understanding here. We're still on the way. We're still an hour from lunch probably. So essentially, and yes, it looks like yeah. So as I said, they rested with, hey, so despite the fact that Diddy threatened you, you still reached out to work with him, and you weren't making money otherwise, but you basically reached out to the guy who you claim was threatening you, right? Yeah. Now there's redirect. So the prosecutor gets back up and says, hey, why did you file your civil lawsuit? And Dawn says, when I worked for Combs, I had no sleep. The conditions. Now, she didn't allege sexual assault, but she definitely alleged like work conditions were like, it was almost like to the aspect of damn near forced labor, but like
disgruntled employee.
The actual allegation she made, but it was about work conditions, right?
This motherfucker is a disgruntled employee.
She's mentioned it here, and AUSA says, in every meeting with the government, did you say that Miss Combs beat Cassie? She says yes.
Motherfucker's a disgruntled employee.
Why then did you reach out to Mr. Combs? She says, well,
that shit
one
crazy.
Of the judge on Making a Band, Lorian Gibson, I wanted to reach out, and Westmoreland says objection. The judge says sustain. It says, how often did you hear from Mr. Combs after you left Diddy Dirty Money? Okay. So we're waiting on some updates. Now, I see somebody say, why did the defense object? I would imagine they objected because in her answering it, she's bringing up Lorian Gibson, who's someone who is not a witness for the government or something like that. The judge still sustained it, so it doesn't matter. But it looks like they didn't want them to be like, oh, Lorian Gibson reached out to me on behalf of Puff. Lorian Gibson, if you don't know who that is, Lorian Gibson. She was like a known, like,
thank you for your follow.
She's like a known dancer. That's where I know her from. Hold on. But apparently she also claimed assault as well. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Did she ever say anything about it? I think we see.
Do you want to play a game?
I must confess, Lorianne and I became friends when I was doing my radio show. Good. All right, so Lorianne, everybody, is an accomplished choreographer, and she's worked with some of the biggies, including Lady Gaga.
Yeah. Discouraged as well because everybody was like, Lorianne, I want you to make Beyonce. I want you to make the same thing that's already out.
Now, what are you teaching, Nikki?
Okay.
W in the chat.
She
W in the
worked with
chat.
Diddy for a while too. Okay. All good. Oh. Doris says sporadic. So how often would you hear from this? She said sporadic. So why did you reach out then? She said to help Kalina Harper. AUSA says no further questions. That's a good place for them to end, right? Because Kalina Harper she actually was taken up for Diddy, and I guess maybe her group mate thought something was wrong. Look, this is Dirty Money's Kalina on how Diddy treated her.
Well, Diddy's my superhero. Diddy is my He-Man. And so as a little girl, I would always look at Puff and be like, yo, he's like the coolest brown-skinned guy ever. And, you know, you hear people like, yeah, dancing in the videos, blah, blah. But I was like, yo, you need that energy as an artist. You need somebody to have your back and be getting it. And if we took ourselves as serious, we'd probably be out of here because he believed in the movement, you know? And anyhow, I was freshly signed to EMI. And Big John did the deal. Actually, he was the president of EMI at the time. Beat on some K Diddy shit, and he don't got. And they're playing his record.
She remind me of somebody that if I see her ass again one more time,
right? Because I'm captured in the music, like not tripping about Puffy and the other. All of a sudden, he comes in and he just hear me like, "Oh my fucking God, going crazy to the beat on some K Diddy shit," and he don't got his pants on. He's in his drawers and socks, and he's putting pants on. He's like, "What was his beat?"
Last time I ran into her, I was tired as fuck, and I wasn't on point.
This is a year ago she did this interview.
And she stopped me. I walked right by her. I ain't even noticed it. She had done got me tapped me.
At all, huh?
Because I'm captured in the music, like not tripping about Puffy and the other.
I think I was on.
All of a sudden, he comes in and he just.
I was trying to get some money. Somebody, I was
hear me like, "Oh my fucking God, going crazy to the beat on some K Diddy shit," and he don't got his pants on. He's in his drawers and socks, and he's putting pants on. He's like, "What was his beat?" Like that's how we met. Like it was just like
it was fresh out of a freak off, man. Yo, this is crazy.
Like just like magnetically connected to what this music was doing, and we just started vibing from there. But that's how Strobe
W's in the chat
out of it, and you know, it was the first record I wrote for Last Year in Paris. So yeah, and then we took off from there. When it was time for me to leave, writing on Puff's album, I was like, yo, who are you using for this fucking album? Like, who's gonna be on this album with you? Because this shit is so crazy. I was just so in love with the idea, the concept. It was just out of here from being a girl that was at home praying to God that I would get the opportunity. Like, oh my God, I've been on tour for like 4 years. $10,000 shoes, the furs. She's in her dream, and we all.
Did Tania do another?
I'm a savage. Oh, I'm a savage. Whatever I want, I'm going to get. Whatever I want, I have to get.
I always remember this clip. This clip is like it just accentuates maybe a thought that Diddy had throughout his whole life. He says, "Whatever I want, I have to fucking get." And I mean, again, I'm not saying these allegations are true, but I do think that generally, I think Diddy was living life like that. Like, yo, if I want this, I'm getting this. If I want to see this, it's gonna happen. And he was pretty much bulldozing everything in this way. Was he doing it in a legal way? I mean, it's gonna be up to some jurors, right?
Sean Diddy Combs was arrested tonight in New York City. Sources say federal agents with Homeland Security investigations took him into custody. The charges are unclear at this time.
Two of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs' homes were raided today by Homeland.
Seriously, don't have sex with him. So I just was like, I'm not going to do nothing with Prince. Whoever I meet, I'm going to keep the business. So that was my whole mindset throughout the whole thing. And I'm just saying that because by the time I got to the freak off, I was already like cautious.
Don't she kind of look like Young Miami gang?
It's like, this is a setup because if I want anybody to take me seriously, I can't do anything. So long story short, I'm there for about a week. We're picking up girls night after night. We're going to Club Live. We're going to sushi bars. We're going to different restaurants. We're going shopping. We're going to Neiman Marcus. He's whining and dining me, not giving me any physical money, but he's swiping his American Express black card. So I'm just being nosy. You know, he flew his cousins out there. We're riding around in a Maserati truck. We had like Uber service, and then we had car service. You know, so it was Uber, but he was like, you know, we have the car service. Right? So I was honored. I started to see familiar faces, you know, people that I've seen on TV before, and I'm like, okay, this is crazy. I'm like, he must really be like a respectful. I mean, I don't know no business, so I'm like, he's the real deal. I was wondering, like, when were we gonna go to the studio, or when were we gonna do something musically inclined, or are you gonna introduce me to somebody? Because at this point, I'm just like, okay, enough is enough. We're going shopping. We're not doing nothing. And I'm really kind of getting mad because I'm like, we just keep on picking up more and more girls. And just as a girl myself, I don't want too many girls around because then are you going to do what you say you were going to do for me? Like, I don't want the promises to start to change. So when a week go by, where are we going to have in? And then, mind you, I'm like, so you said we're going to be staying for 2 weeks, right? So what are we going to do in the next few days before I go home? Don't worry about it.
That wasn't with Diddy. That was with somebody else. According to her story, some prince that she was like, I don't know how she was romantically involved with, introduced her to Diddy. And she's almost saying that it was almost kind of like a gift, like, yo, Diddy, here's some more bitches for you to sex traffic because we've been sex trafficking them. That's kind of like her story. I'm not meaning to sound crass, but it is what it is.
So 2 weeks came. I'm over it. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home. As soon as I said I'm ready to go home, he's like, oh no, I got somebody very important, very special. I want to introduce you to. It's a producer. So I'm thinking.
So she says, first of all, like no disrespect to Shorty, but bro, you got a neck tattoo, gang. Like, why do you think that some Indian sheik, or not Indian sheik, some fucking Dubai sheik was riding around with you, just wanted to take you on a shopping spree? You know what that means. Like, nigga trying to shit on your chest, man. Like, stop playing, bro. Like, what do you think this nigga wanted to do?
Trying to put my dick all the way.
So the nigga probably fucked the shit out of her, got whatever he wanted to get sexually out of her. And I think a lot of them little sheiks are like probably like, yo, here's gifts. So they're looking at it like, I'm buying you things as well. And then now it becomes some other shit, right?
Somebody very important, very special. I want to introduce you to. It's a producer. So I'm thinking in my mind, the time that it was around, I was trying to think who was the popping producer at that time. The last thing I would have thought was P. Diddy. Not like that, but because he's kind of old school. He wasn't really trending at that time. So I'm like, oh, DJ Khaled? Like, because I'm thinking like, okay, he's a prince, so maybe DJ Khaled is. I'm like, no. He's like, no, we're going to Club Live. Because we went to Club Live a few times, but this time, because that's like one of the popping clubs. And so this time he was like, I want you to pick somebody tonight. Usually when the girls come back with us, I don't do the picking. He does the picking, or his cousin Saji does it. Or he invited his nephew that I call Drake because they look like little Drakes. And I was like, oh, okay, Drake and him is coming with us tonight. And that was just like a little insider. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. That was another thing too. Like his nephews are kind of like little finessers. Like he would use his nephews to be like the young, attractive men that would attract girls like me. Maybe to pick girls out for Diddy or whoever, right? I picked someone and I'm like, what are you going to pick her for? He's like, because we're going to P. Diddy's house. And I'm thinking like, this is it. Like, oh my God, I'm about to get signed tonight. That's what I'm thinking.
Psych!
So we go from Club Live. It ends at like 4, and then at 6 o'clock, we go to PD's house in the morning. So I've never been to like an after party that early to where it just started that time. Usually when you go to an after party, it's about to be over around that time because people have been partying all night. No, this shit just got started. And then it was 6, and then the sun started to come up. Next thing you know, I just...
Yeah, we finna pick up on Bet Good Sports in a minute. We finna go intermission.
Security doesn't take our phone, but they put our phones in some bubble cases. So that means that we can't get to our phone. So I'm like, I've heard a lot about this type of stuff. Like you go to these parties and they don't let you
boy been hit.
You know why parties are so cool, man? Because you can't get into the party. It doesn't matter what the fuck's going on in the party. Nothing cool is going on in the party. It's a party. But you can't, for some fucking reason, at his party, you can't get into his party. So now what do you want to do?
You know
get
I
into
got
that man's party.
You
See
know
what
I
all the hubbub is.
Yeah. Like, don't worry, we have a Team Love, that's his little slogan, his brand or whatever. Team Love photo booth. If you need to take any pictures, take pictures there. I'm not knowing what's about to transpire. I walk in there, I'm just so happy, and I'm just like kind of nervous, but then what's making me even more nervous is the music and the naked people walking around. So I'm like, the music is going fast, so I'm like feeling like a rush. I don't know if it's...
Check, give me 1 second. I gotta go upstairs.
No, I'm excited but nervous at the same time. That was my intuition telling me some shit was about to go down, or it was like some crazy shit going on. Long story short, I started to see unusual things. People skinny dipping in the pool, P. Diddy running around like a crazy animal. I seen like a lot of, bisexual, this type of people, trans, just different types of people. And I love everyone. I've been in the industry, so like I don't discriminate on nobody. I love a lot of gays. I love anybody who is happy, anybody who is positive. But when it starts to get kind of crazy, I'll be like, I don't want to attach myself to that.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, for all those in London that don't know what happens to the white man when he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man.
It's so unfortunate.
You gotta pull back though, so they can see. That's crazy. Matt, move out the way. You're still alive. Look at that. Look And the drink on his head. And that's James from Simeon Mobile Disco. He is an actual DJ. I'm supposed to pass out, but when they come to one of my
That
parties,
nigga
this is what happens.
fucked up.
I put him to sleep. You put the drink on his head. Yeah. Damn.
I seen Diddy. He rubs me on my shoulder. He asks me, how you like in my house? And he kind of like startled me a little bit. So mind you, this feeling I was feeling, I'm not sure if it was because I'm thinking I'm going to have to maybe sing or get signed or this is my opportunity. You know, you hear these in the industry. You've been singing for so long and you hear these stories like when you get your big break, you're going to go through all this bull crap and then one night it's just going to change your life. So it's like you're going to be a nobody at one moment and the next moment you just may be a superstar tomorrow. It's like an overnight celebrity type of thing. So that's just what I'm banking on. But then I get something different from Diddy. When he comes to me and he's rubbing on me and he's asking about do I like his house? I'm feeling like a dark energy, like in his eye. And I'm like, why is it giving scared? Like he's trying to, with his power, like, how are you liking my house? Like anything you want, let me know. Like, and then he tells me, go in the house. So after a while, he's watching me with the prince. Everybody's just watching me and all of these things. And I'm just feeling like, okay. So then he tells me like, did you go in my house yet? And I'm like, no. So I was with somebody, and I forgot this part because I wasn't trying to drag the story all out, but because I know people want to get to the meat. When I came in with one of the girls, it was other girls that came with this, but the ones that I picked, of course, I picked her from the club, so she's my friend. She was on my shoulder. When I walked through, as soon as I came through with my phone covered up, I'm hearing the music. I seen one of P. Diddy's son. He goes, hey, you come here. I'm like, who, me, who, her? He's like, you and only you. He gave me some rolled terry cloth white shoes, and I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do with these? He's like, this is how you're gonna get in the house. So fast forward, I'm just holding the shoes. So when PD came up to me, I'm thinking like, he's asking me like, you have one in the house yet? Like, you got the shoes? And I'm like, oh, these, and I'm thinking because when he gave them to me because my friend didn't have it, I wasn't worried about going in the house. Basically, when I went in the house, because he was pushing, and we was really like on me about going in his house.
Now, I know you was about to say Mutademics, huh? Yo, now let's put this in perspective. I think this story sounded mad intriguing before, like really intriguing, right? I have to kind of listen to the first part of this trial. I'm not saying we're not going to hear more information later. Bro, I don't think that he was trying to recruit random women. If anything, he was probably trying to recruit random niggas. Diddy was the type of nigga who was trying to find some more dick. Diddy ain't never looked like he wanted some more pussy up in the mix. Actually, Cassie did testify. She was the one like, yo, Diddy, you sure you don't want another bitch? When your girl gotta say to you like, yo, you sure you don't want some more pussy in the mix? You know you ain't into pussy.
She did testify.
Jack, come on, bro. When your girl gotta say you sure you don't want another bitch in the freak-off, you know you ain't into no type of pussy. You like, man, yo, Diddy, imagine Diddy walking in the room like, man, it ain't enough baby oil and ain't enough dick in here. Let's keep it a bean. We ain't never seen Diddy say, nah, we need another girl. Yo, think about it like this. Yo, chat. If I'm Diddy, I'm fucking some of the baddest bitches on earth. Cassie, Gina, Kim Porter. Bruh, I would be trying to get them I would try to be fucking them together. You bad. Diddy ain't want none of that. Diddy ain't never be like, oh, nah, would you ever fuck Gina? None of that. That nigga was on some shit like, yo, get old boy with the big dick over there. Like, yo, Diddy was on that type of shit. Diddy was fucking some of the baddest bitches on earth and never thought, let me fuck them together. He always was thinking, yo, I wonder if that nigga got a big dick. I want him in the freak off. That's what I'm saying. This story now, I'm looking at it, I'm like, if you was at that party, I don't think they was trying to recruit women, man. Just giving a beat. Yeah. Diddy was like, yo, hold on, man. Something ain't right about this ambiance, man. We need some more meat in the fucking building. All right, then, people. Okay, so there's a recross. Look like they're going to get off Dawn Rashad off here quickly. Recross, Miss Westmoreland says, you admit you reach out to Combs to re-engage. You claim only to have a relationship with Lauren Gibson. But if it got back together, you'd have to see Mr. Combs more, right? She said yes. They say, you sued for money, right? She said no, for justice. That's a genuine LOL chat. No, I sued for justice, not for money. Really, nigga? Really, nigga? Yeah, I hope they use that in her civil case. If she wins it and they're about to go to a judgment, I hope Diddy's lawyers say, hey, by the way, judge, just to let you know, she sued for justice, not for money. So you know what? We'll have Diddy write a nice handwritten apology, and we'll have Diddy go do some community service, and that'll be it. No money for her. I'm talking about you suing for justice. Fucking cap. Dawn says yes. Okay. Westmoreland says, but it's okay. So Westmoreland says, but the suits ask for money, right? She says yes. Westmoreland says no further question. The judge says, Miss Slavic, no redirect. And Donaldson says, Xavier says break. So they're going on a break. It doesn't seem like it's necessarily lunch, but it might be damn near lunch. It might as well do an early lunch at this point. Okay, it might be a early lunch at this point. Okay, cool. Let me go back to this video real quick. By the way, we're gonna hop into, like, during this break, we're also gonna get into what Aubrey O'Day has said. I've seen a lot of blogs and people kind of like taking what she said as really an indictment against Diddy. Again, just for people who are tuning in, we don't really have a horse in the race. We really don't give a fuck. Obviously, we have an interest in the truth. We want to know if are these hoes capping? Is Diddy really just a creepy ass nigga, a freaky ass nigga, or is he a rapist and a sex trafficker? That's the only thing we care about.
We be singing, the ladies be nice. Hey, yo, everybody, make sure your breath is fresh and drunk up. Make sure you lotioned up. You know what I'm saying? If you're smoking weed in the Listerine shrimps, please be respectful. Ladies, if they don't want to dance, don't let them hold you back, because this whole thing's a pop. Put that down, L. Jones, come on, get it.
I told my friend, I said, wait a minute. So
hold on real quick. Let me I love getting this guy's update or his input. It's my guy, friend of mine, Bradford Cohen. This is him. He gives real good legal insight. By the way, one of the best lawyers in the land.
On Sean Diddy Combs. So today, Dawn Richards is going to continue testifying. She is a member of Danity Kane. Danity Kane is a group that was managed by Sean Combs. And if you remember, he's never been easy on any of his groups. I don't know if anybody remembers Making the Band. I remember wasting my life away watching Making the Band. And he made people cross over the Brooklyn Bridge to get him Junior's cheesecake. He's a very difficult manager. He's a very difficult guy to deal with. And I think that is kind of going to be highlighted by the defense here. I don't know if...
Yo, chat, let me ask that gentleman a question. Well, I asked my chat queens. Now, granted, I'm asking this in a very tongue-in-cheek way. I don't mean to be insensitive or anything about it, so I got to give a disclaimer. But if you a woman that were around at that time, and you see how horny Diddy was, he was having freak-offs for 4 straight days. If Diddy never tried to get you in a freak-off or never tried to fuck you, would you feel like, yo, damn, I really wasn't pretty? Because I'm thinking about, I'm like, yo, ain't no way he tried Babs Bunny. Right? Like, yo, I don't think he tried, like, them hoodlums that was in Making a Band, or The Band, that's what it was called. I don't think he was trying to get Babs Bunny no fucking freak off. I can't see him saying, yo, we need Freddie P from Miami to fuck Cassie while I watched. Nor Lean Belly Ines. Or I can't be like, yo, Chopper, yo, take that Chopper suit off and come fuck my bitch. I can't see that neither. And I can't imagine him saying, yo, right now, we need an island man to come fuck her. I rip and I rhyme and I rape. This is the way Dylan spits. Sarah did look good, though. Sarah did look good type shit. Sarah did look good. But the rest of these hoodlums, hell nah. Hell nah.
There's going to be a lot of bias here because
he does look like Dana White. You're right.
She was treated in a way that she felt was disrespectful in terms of money, in terms that she didn't get paid for things, in terms of that she witnessed things that she didn't want to witness. She says that she witnessed him hitting Cassie with a frying pan with eggs in it, never reported it. never called the police, never had a text with Cassie about it, never had a text with friends about it. I think that's unusual because you think she would at least tell her friends about it. Cassie's testimony last week wrapped up with a lot from the defense just smoking her on.
Is that a fair thing to say, Chad? Do you believe there's a world where they're so scared of Diddy that somebody get, I ain't gonna lie to you, yo, somebody get hit with a frying pan around me, my group chat is on fire. Actually, I don't really got group chats like that, but for the group chat people. Like, yo, I couldn't, well, I'll be on Discord. So I'll be like, yo, I'll be on Discord telling that story a lot. Yo, this nigga Diddy slapped the bitch with a frying pan, nigga. Like, this shit was crazy. A frying pan? Yo, slapping somebody with a frying pan is crazy. I'm telling everybody. But I do have a big mouth. Pause. I say it look like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stop it, bro.
Different texts that she wrote about that she loved the freak off, that she wanted to do freak offs during the week, not just a weekend. The amount of settlement that was made by her for $20 million with Sean Combs, and then $10 million against the hotel. So she got $30 million there, and I'm sure her lawyer got $10 million of that $30 million. So he probably bought himself a Ferrari or maybe a Porsche. He might be a Porsche guy. Long story short is I think it's going well.
That's what lawyers make money.
For the defense. You never know on these cases. It's very early in the case, so we'll never actually find out what's going on until the end of the trial. But you could say on the scoreboard, the defense is definitely putting up some points.
I score this, chat. I score this. So I'm going to score like boxing. I'm going to score week by week. I think last week was a 10-9 week for the defense. And the reason why I scored a 10-9 is that this is a round they should have never won. And this is why I think they're up heavily. You know, one of those people who get gas quick, but they give you all they got. They throw mad punches mad quick. So really, they're supposed to win the first round, but they'll get tired later. I think the defense brought up Cassie, right? That's the main witness. I think last week should have been a 10-8 for the defense, where it's like, whoa, not for the defense, for the prosecutors, where Diddy's like, whoa, we're going to have to step it up to recover from this because Cassie crying, detailing these freak-offs. She's a known public, let's not say famous, but like she's known, right? She's a known victim. People seeing that video, Diddy needs to have a strong next week. And I left the week by saying Diddy had the better week. So I scored it like that. Looks like he agrees.
All right.
Okay. All right. Looks like I think we're on a break. Not sure if it's lunch. Okay, it's not lunch. Okay, so good. So the jury enters back in. The government calls Kerry Morgan. Kerry Morgan is the former best friend of Cassie. Kerry Morgan says she lives in Los Angeles. AUSA says, who is this? She says, Cassie Ventura. And so what's your relationship? She says, well, we were best friends. Her boyfriend assaulted me, meaning Diddy. AUSA says, do you see him here? She says, yup, right over there. That nigga right here, grayed up in the yellow sweater, okay? AUSA says, let the record reflect the witnesses identified the defendant Sean Combs. AUSA says, why are you here? She says, I got a subpoena. AUSA says, where did you live with Cassie? She says, in Manhattan. AUSA says, did Cassie drink? Kerry says, not much. AUSA says, any drugs? Kerry Morgan says, none. Whoa, this is actually important. I'm going to pause this by saying this is important in the sense of we've just heard that Cassie went to rehab. We've heard that Cassie was heavily under the influence of drugs. How could her best friend not know? Now, I'm guessing this is the government asking something that could hurt their case, right? They're saying she doesn't drink that much, whatever. Well, it could help their case in the sense of saying, did he force her to take drugs? And that's why her friends never seen her take drugs outside of being with Diddy. And that is one of the arguments they're trying to make. They're saying behavior that she exemplified or did with Diddy, she never did outside of being with Diddy. For example, she never did a freak off unless it was with Diddy. And yes, she did do freak offs while she was dating other people with Diddy, but she never did a freak off with anybody else. That didn't include Diddy, right? So maybe they're trying to say, yeah, this woman wasn't really a druggie. Diddy got her hooked on drugs to control her. And that's why she was taking drugs around him. I didn't see her too much off drugs. Seems to be maybe the case, right? So what was she doing for work? Modeling. And she recorded Me and You. AUSA says, when did you learn they were dating? 2007. AUSA says, did you travel with Cassie and Mr. Combs? She says, yes. We went to Ibiza, Miami. AUSA says, what drugs did Combs provide? Molly, marijuana, ecstasy. AUSA says, which of them did Combs take? She says, all. Did you take any drugs along with Cassie? She says, opiates. Okay. All right. By the way, it's we don't know who are the other witnesses. We don't know who the other witnesses are going to be, Chad. Right. So we don't know who the other witnesses are going to be. The judge did ask for a schedule of witnesses, and it appears that the schedule of witnesses so far has Diddy. Well, not Diddy, but had Dawn Richard and then Kerry Morgan on the stand. We don't know who's going to come after that. At some point, we're going to get Jane Doe, but we do have to think about all the other things that has to be proven. Maybe somebody who worked on the car or who recovered the car, or a cop that recovered or responded to the scene of the car being blown up for Kid Cudi. Don't think Kid Cudi going to take the stand. There's a lot of other people, and maybe like some clinical psychiatrists or trauma psychiatrists that could be taking a stand to kind of like push home some of these points of like a victim being in these situations, and maybe you think that they're operating under their own free power and free will, but they're actually being taken advantage of, and they're moving out of fear or being in a drugged up state. So we're gonna see a lot more people other than like people that we know or hear about. So far, we're hearing a lot about people we know and hear about. Okay, let's see. We should get some more tweets here. They probably got about 30 more minutes, or maybe a couple more minutes before they break. Okay, so it says, how did Mr. Combs act? It says he would yell at Cassie. She lost her confidence big time. She lost her spark. Did he talk down to her? Yes, about her looks, who she talked to. Did he contact you looking for her? He says a lot. So they're kind of driving home this whole thing that Cassie would be missing at times, or like, she would be absent. And Diddy would send security to go get her. He would call multiple people to try to get in contact with her. And he made a point where Cassie had to be held accountable, or Cassie had to be present when he wanted Cassie to be present. He would hit up the best friend. I think they may have even mentioned he may have even hit up the moms. Like, Diddy always made sure he knew about Cassie. And this is going to go into the government's point of, remember, sex trafficking under force, fraud, or coercion. It's like, yeah, you could say Cassie could walk out the door, but if when she walks out the door, he tracks her down with security, he's still threatening her. He said he's going to drop the video. He's hitting up her best friend. He's pretty much has control or has a tap on her whole life. The physical act of leaving the room of a freak off doesn't still allow her to escape. Right? Also, he had a place that she used to stay at that supposedly he had access to. So, just trying to play devil's advocate on how they're trying to roll this case out, right? Anyway, I'm gonna play this video.
Go in. As soon as I go in, it's more shit going on in the house than outside. I thought outside was a crazy mess because of the music and the people. No, they were like, I called it like sardines in the house because everybody was up on each other. I could feel the moist and the sweat. As soon as I got in there, it was like a sweatshop. And it's a lot of things going on in different corners. It's a huddle over here, huddle over there. It's these type of people over here. You could just look to your left and you can see something. You look to your right, you can see something else going on. You look forward, there's some other shit going on. I mean, I had to like watch my step. There's people running around screaming, having fun, I guess. But I'm like, I need to watch myself up in here because what's going on? Mind you, it's people asking you want a drink, passing you stuff. You have, the waitresses walking around naked, asking you, do you want stuff? And
the more I listen to this, I don't think Shorty was at a freak off at all. The freak off looks like extreme sex. They're not hanging out, it's just drinking. The freak off looks like you fuck you do it till you nut, you rub this nut on this. It didn't feel like it's not. I think what she was realizing is that maybe it's the first time she's partied with celebrity. Yes, was Diddy freaked out? Like he's freaked out in the sense of, yo, he gonna have maybe girls in bikinis, naked girls, they're pouring like body shot, maybe that, but that's just like a freaky party. That's not a freak off. The freak off, people are fucking.
I'm not really a drinker. The last thing I'm gonna do at that time, I was smoking weed. I don't anymore, but that was it. So I was like, because if I'm gonna be acting like this, I don't want to take a sip of nothing up in here. And I just think everybody's, they were like intoxicated, but nothing out of the norm yet. Until I look over and I see some little people. So I'm like, what's going on over there? They look dressed up, I don't know if it's a video shoot going on or what, but I'm just like looking like, okay, little people. And, not midgets. So I'm just thinking like, okay, I know I'm not tripping. I don't know. So I'm just like, whatever. I felt disgusted at this point because now I'm like, okay, this is some Hollywood shit and this must be some billionaire shit. So see, I'm not that up there. So let me just head on out because I'm not trying to be in the middle of all of this. I need to figure out what the prince about to do with me because it just seemed weird. And I just walked out because I still have my friend out there waiting on me. So it's like I seen what I needed to see and I just was disgusted. Now, in this industry, we could see our favorite rappers doing bisexual things and we could feel like we still didn't see it. It could be right in front of our face and we still won't believe it. People could tell us, we can feel it and we still won't believe it. But what I seen, I'm like, this is some funny, weird, freaky shit. And at the end of the day, these people are some weirdos. I'm not with this, No. So I go outside. P. Diddy is outside on the couch with the prince. He's already just jacking off. Well, I don't know what I can say. And he's already just, feeling like, okay, she's been in there. She's seen, when people feel comfortable, you're on their playground, right? They like, so what do you think? Like basically like, are you with this shit or what? Like, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be like the weirdo. It's kind of like when somebody offers you something at a party and it's like, oh no, I'm not gonna do that. You try to make it seem like I'm not gonna do that today. You guys are not weird. You guys aren't. But so I'm not trying to offend anybody. But I just was like, so what's going on? And then they're like, oh, are you going to Cuba with us? So it's the girls. The girls that's all on the prince. The prince is on the couch. Diddy is on the couch. And I'm like, where did this couch come from? Now I feel like I'm tripping because I'm like, I didn't see this couch before. Now I feel like they trying to run a play on me, like the Truman Show. Like I started to get paranoid because the music, all this shit going on, what I just seen. I'm like, I just wanted to, I literally wanted to cry because I'm like, I'm always in some shit trying to be famous. Like, damn, like I thought I was this close and then this, like every single time. Because I done had interviews, and not interviews, but like meetings with certain Atlantic Records, Interscope and Def Jam, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Diddy kept what she described, and I do not believe is a freak off. I believe Diddy threw extravagant parties, and if anything, the only thing I would take more serious is like someone like Gene Deal saying he saw Ja Rule come out of the room. I think Diddy wasn't trying to recruit other women.
Fucking analog.
I think Diddy was trying to entice other guys by trying to show them, like, there's niggas like that, be like,
fuck no, bitch. Get that. Let's go.
If you tell some of these horny ass rappers, yo, I got some bitches,
yes, sir.
blah blah blah. You go upstairs. They'll go upstairs thinking they about to just run some type of 2-man. They about to fuck one bitch, you fuck the other chick. The whole time, Diddy probably on some weird shit, but he's like really disguising it. You know what I mean? Like really disguising it. And he probably did that with rappers. I don't think he aggressively tried to fuck no rapper because I think they would slap the fuck out of him. But he had these, I think it was homoerotic urges. I think Diddy wanted penis this entire time. It was easier for him to kind of get those rocks off or those kinks off when he was a sex worker because that would make sense. Okay, yo, fuck her till she, and by the way, I don't think he wanted much women to know. I think with the guys, he could disguise it as, nah, bro, yo, this that Diddy shit, man. We just gonna get mad bitches. The whole time, Diddy looking at him like, I ain't no Fabulous was built like this still. Yo, F-A-B-O, L-O, you know what I mean? I think that's what he was on. Like, he was watching the men, but he could play it off on some, oh, nah, we just both fucking bitches. We both fucking bitches. The whole time, he looking at Fab like, damn, you doing it, daddy. Nah, you doing it over there, daddy. Here, fuck what I'm doing, daddy. You doing it. Yo, Meek, you doing it, daddy. You know, I think that's what's going on. I'm being honest with y'all. Like, nothing else makes sense. I'm not, like, this is not even a crazy theory. Chat, nothing else makes sense. There's not, we've heard 50 stories now. Not one of these stories say he was trying to recruit other women. Not one of them. Not one. But we hear stories of him saying with men, you ain't really party with me. We hear stories of, yo, yeah, when I opened the door, Ja Rule came out and Ja Rule said, you don't want to get up in that room. It's a lot of freaky shit going on up in that room. There's not one of these stories that involve another woman. So I gotta think, or maybe I could be wrong too. Because let's go to the Ja Rule story. I don't think Cassie was involved in that. I don't think, again, these are theories of mine. I don't think Diddy wanted other men in the industry because he was competitive. And that's the thing. I think Diddy gay, but I think he was competitive more than anything. I don't think he, as a man who's heterosexual, you don't want another man to fuck your girl. I don't think it's because of that. I think he just was always competing with his peers. That's why he used to get at her like, bitch, you fucking Michael B. Jordan? Bitch, what you mean you go to OVO Fest? Bitch, yo, stop playing with me, man. I think it's because he was competing with those guys, not necessarily that it was those guys. So he would allow his girl to get fucked by prostitutes and escorts, people who weren't in his industry that he never had to worry about. So he was into that, but he never had to worry about these people. So let's say if it was him and Fabulous or him and Ja Rule, like freaking off. I don't think that's not his girl. He don't bring Cassie in there. I don't think he bring Cassie there. I still think Diddy gay. So Diddy want to watch the nigga slang cock. He the nigga. Well, first of all, I don't do shit like this. I would never do some shit. I wouldn't even be able to get hard in a room with another man dicking down something right there. I think he probably got a room. He fucking a girl. She fucking a girl. And the other nigga probably focusing on the girl. And Diddy the whole time just looking at the other nigga like this. And every now and then nigga look up and be like, what the fuck? And then Diddy started doing some other shit. I guarantee you, bro. I'm telling you. Diddy wanted penis this whole time, gang. I'm telling you, gang. Like, yo, there's nothing else that makes sense. Nothing else makes. So what she's talking about, maybe there was a freak off going on upstairs. I don't think this is the Cassie freak off, though. The way he dealt with Cassie, I think it was sex worker freak off. Cassie would have said it. Oh yeah, one time he let Ja put his dick in my mouth. Like I think Cassie would have said that shit. I know it's extra pause. I know, but like we gotta try to make sense of this. The dude is super competitive.
Only if
he's trying to slap Drake over his girl. He's mad at Michael B. Jordan. He's blowing up Kid Cudi's car. I don't think he's trying to have freak offs with other rappers with his girl. I think his girl is a way for him to get his rocks off at the escorts. And I think he probably had two mans or little orgies with other rappers, but he would have random bitches in there. The whole time he want the rapper. The whole time he's on some take that shit. You feel what I'm saying? So maybe she's talking about that, but that's a different freak off from the Cassie freak off.
It isn't the one, and it won't be right, and it'll be
because, again, and I think y'all get it. In Cassie freak-offs, she's the constant. She's the constant.
My bad. Y'all trying to roll to the
We actually don't hear. Apparently, he did used to fuck her at times, but she was the person who he was comfortable with, that he could hide behind and go in the other room, and she would take the semen, scoop it out of her pussy, and rub it on his nipple, and that was their secret. So if we're thinking he has these homoerotic desires, because he's competitive, he's not gonna bring Cassie in that other shit. I could be wrong, but that's where maybe the random girls come in, because the thing about rappers, you could always lure them in with the idea of bitches. Like if you're trying to get rappers or really anybody in the entertainment industry to go nowhere, all you gotta tell them, yo, nah, pop out. There's gonna be mad hoes there. Niggas is there. Niggas is there. You bring the hoes for them, and you get to watch them fuck. Makes sense to me.
Be some weird shit that.
All right, let me see. Are we at lunch yet for this case? All right, okay. Says sometimes Diddy would call 50 times in a row. AUSA says, would others call you for him? Says yes. Christina Karam, which by the way, or KK. So that's the same person. Chat. We're gonna keep watching out for this name. If she's not she's not an indicted co-conspirator, she's somehow non-indicted. Will she testify? How did she avoid testifying? Because these people who are party to all of the stuff or witnesses or victims are claiming she's a co-conspirator. AUSA says, did you witness any assault? She says, yes, first in the Hollywood Hills. Ruben, one of his security guards, was there. AUSA says, what did Mr. Combs do to Cassie? Kerry Morgan says he kicked her. Okay. AUSA says, what did she do? Morgan says, nothing. I told Ruben to do something. He indicated he wouldn't. AUSA says, then what? We left the house. Cassie and I were hiding by someone's front steps. So once again, and this is why I think the prosecutor, if they're going to win this week, right? Again, I'm scoring in my own way. If they're going to win this week, though, they have to somehow prove. They got to somehow prove. Beyond just the violence, where this becomes full sex trafficking, because they keep telling us the same thing. Diddy beat her. Chat. Do y'all believe Diddy beat her? I think everybody in the world believes Diddy beat her. That's not the point, right? Now, I know they're trying to prove these little subtle nuances, like, well, we got to mention the beatings, but the beatings were the overlying factor of the fear and her trying to get away, i.e. hiding. Maybe that's what it is. I'm just looking for a little bit stronger evidence, I guess, right? We'll see. AUSA says, and the next time, Kerry Morgan says, in Jamaica, I saw him drag her by the hair. I ran to get my purse and phone so we could leave. AUSA says, what do you see next? Kerry says, I thought she was knocked out. She got up and ran into a wooded area. Wow. So we're hearing about just more violence. More violence. Diddy to Cassie. All good.
That happened at the last minute. So this is one of the weird things that happened at the last minute. So when they sprung up Cuba on me, I'm like, I thought I was going home. My 2 weeks is up. Like, now Cuba? And then they know and I don't know. So too many surprises for me. So I was like,
I understand it now.
So no, I'm not gonna do it. And it was just like, I was like, oh, we're going to Cuba. And then D's like, yeah, are you coming to Cuba with us? You too? So just like, okay. After the fact of all this, I've heard some things about Cuba, that they don't even stamp your passport and that people get lost in the sauce out there. We hear these stories about Dubai. What about Cuba? What about the unseen? Like, like I'm just a party.
That's very conspiratorial.
I understand it now.
Just because you're trying to
I understand it now.
Allude that the place that they're going to go is the direct result of them trying to evade.
I understand it now.
Or evade what about their sex trafficking?
I understand it now.
So at this point, they probably think I'm a sex worker. They probably think I'm a model. They probably think I'm an opportunist. And yeah, I am an opportunist, but I'm not going to do something that I may regret later, or that you guys are going to hold over my head. All the stories that we do here, and I think
block party.
Because I even seen someone, because before I went there, I was signed to a rapper. I ended up seeing someone there that was friends with the rapper, and he was dressed totally different there. And when he seen me, he was rubbing on me too, and he was like, "Hey, you." I don't think that he would have been back in California with the rappers. He doesn't say shit to me when we were in California, but in Miami at the house, he was comfortable and touching and feeling on me too. When I got back home, fast forward just on this note, when I got back home, I went to try to go hit him up, the rapper that I seen there, and I was blocked because I went on my other page, like my little Finsta, and I was like, why is his name coming up here? I said, why would he block me? That's fishy. Because I didn't do nothing to you. So is it because I left?
I understand it now,
you didn't want me to know or nobody to know that you were there? It was just a trip. You know what I'm saying?
Chat, let me tell you this. And again, I do believe Diddy was always on some shit. But this is one of those situations. I think this woman probably ain't taking accountability.
Fuck no.
They block you because it's probably how you act when you go to parties. They're not blocking you for no reason. Like, oh yeah, she called us, let me block her. No, I'm pretty sure you're not socially aware that you rub people the wrong way and they don't want to speak. It sounds good to be like, oh, it's like a get out moment where they run into me and they know that I know their secrets, so they block me. Nah, bruh. You probably like insufferable. But you're not speaking about how you're moving, but you keep being at these places. So you're just moving around like, what's going on? So you're saying that they're pretty much trying to recruit you into sex trafficking, but even now you ain't fuck. Come on, bro.
This guy, the rapper, he really is vouching for Diddy. Like, you know how certain people are like, no, he wouldn't do that. This one in particular is like, no, he. Of course, you're saying that because you was partying with him and you probably got to get some things. But that's just what I think. Because come on, like that was just weird. And at that time, before I put something together, I was like, maybe them little ones is there with somebody, but why? Like, look at what time in the morning. Under, around liquor, around, drip. Come on. No. And I'm tired of stuff being so covered up, but I had prayed before all of this. I'm a believer in God. And I was like, God, no, you be using me, but don't use me like that, please. I had to be the one to not be intoxicated.
I tried to pump fake that one.
Because I don't know. Basically, yeah, like if I would have just took a drink, I feel like, or if I wouldn't have been on my P's and Q's, I probably would have went to Keeper. Or I probably would have just went along with love. And I probably wouldn't have been here to tell my story.
Yep.
Because one of the girls, the Asian one, because she was just her assistant, I started to talk to her like before we went to Diddy's house. So, we were like well acquainted. And she was telling me, I was like, so what are you doing out here? Because I started asking the girls questions in the house. And then she was like, my sister is in competition with me. I just want to change my life. I just want like a new life. And she was like, and I think being the Prince's assistant would be good for me. He told me that. And when she said this, I'm just thinking that that's what he told her because she was the assistant. Remember, I'm the artist. So she said that the Prince said that he was going to stamp her whole package, her whole book. So knowing that information and that's what he told her. And then they just now told me Cuba, who knows what their plans was and what was going to happen.
Anyway. Okay, so what happened next? It says there's 2 golf carts in the driveway. I got in one, Sean got in the other one. We went in different directions looking for Cassie. Did you find her? Yes. Then we hid in a ditch. Oh. So in Jamaica, he dragged her by the hair. She ran back to get her purse and phone so she could leave. So what'd you see next? Thought she was knocked out. And she got up and ran into a window.
Oh my God.
What happened next?
Damn, that shit went fast.
Went different directions.
Why that shit went so fast?
Look for her. We found her. We hid in the ditch. What about the incident at Comstock in the apartment? Cassie came back with a hoodie covering her face. Then Sean came and tried to get in, hitting the door with a hammer. I called D-Rock. He said, did he get in? No. Then the police came. Wow. Okay. We still need like a D-Rock interview, huh? Look like he's witnessed a lot. Diddy, a year ago, he pulled up with D-Rock. So it looked like Diddy's still cool with D-Rock, right?
Okay, Diddy.
I think this is Christina Kurama.
Yeah.
Which one's D-Rock? Is it him or him?
Yeah. Diddy, what's up, baby?
Yo, Diddy is such a fraud, though. Yo, anytime you see a nigga get too positive, they're doing some real fucked up shit in the background. I ain't even gonna lie to you. As soon as Diddy started saying he was broke, he said, love your work, appreciate you.
Before, I'm something different. So my new name is Love, a.k.a. Brother Love. I will not be answering to Puffy, Diddy, Puff Daddy, or any of my other monikers, but Love or Brother Love, okay? It's my birthday. I feel good. God is the greatest. I give all glory, and I thank my mama and daddy.
Okay. All right. By the way, Hoodbox TV, thank you for the 10. I'm going to go to the Academy page in a second to read donations. He says, why are the sex workers being charged with federal crimes for selling sex across state lines? Diddy can't buy something that's not for sale. So number one, all these sex workers, I would imagine, have done a proffer, which would probably, you know, in exchange for their testimony, they're not going to get prosecuted, right? Not necessarily immunity, but it just means the government is not going to go after them for that. Also, here's the thing: the government is really going after Diddy in a racketeering sense. Part of racketeering is that the person has to understand or has some type of implicit knowledge that they're a part of this scheme, this finesse. For example, and I know you're talking about the sex worker, but just to explain it in a racketeering sense, is that if you hire maids and their job is just to clean shit up, and then you fucking kill somebody and they happen to clean up some of the stuff or some of the whatever that was left from you killing people, they weren't knowledgeable of the murder. They weren't involved in the murder. They weren't complicit in the murder. They were just doing their jobs. So I think that's how the government is going to take on looking at these sex workers, right? Where yes, prostitution is illegal. These were escorts who I think in the favorable way, or how the government, again, some part of the law, you know, the law is supposed to be pretty much black and white, but there are gray areas. They're going to look at it like these people were almost told and also scared of Diddy himself, because none of them explicitly were selling sex services. The one that was brought up on the stand, he was a dancer. Diddy then engaged him to say, I want you to fuck her. And they said they seen devilish looks in his eyes. They seen Diddy do A, B's, and C, and D. They were scared. So that's why I think we haven't seen charges for the sex workers. But you have to remember, Diddy is a target here, not them. So a lot of them probably have given their cooperation, or if they had videos, exchange their videos to the government for lack of prosecution, if that makes sense. Entertainment Zone, thank you for the 5, says, yo, she said every single time her ass know what she was doing. You're talking about Cassie? Hypno, thank you, brother. He says, yo, can you do a producer tag for me? Well, hopefully me saying your name just now was a producer tag. So love your work. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I got tired as a bit, man. I'm finna got down, take a nap right quick, man. I just got down, I had a wave, just hit me. I'll be back on in a minute.